Hello, hello, peace, 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 peace. Shout out to everybody in the building. Peace, peace, peace. Shout out to everybody in the building. We about to get started, family. I'm gonna just give it like 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes for everybody to get in the building before we get going. Shout out to everybody in the building. Much appreciated for everybody showing up. And yeah, shout out to everybody in the building. We're gonna give it like 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna get started. Peace. Okay. We can get started. Okay. We can get started. Let me start out with the shout outs. I got to shout everybody out who came through. Much appreciated for everybody who came through today. Whoo! Much appreciated. Shout out to Lee D. Clinton in the building. Shout out to Banana in Pajamas in the building. Oh, thank you. You set it off with 2 jewels. Thank you. Thank you for setting it off with the 2 sparkles. Much appreciated. Whole lot of sparkles. Whole lot of jewels beat no jewels. Shout out to Baka in the building. Shout out to the Boogeyman in the building. What's up? Shout out to AZ in the building. Shout out to Remember the Palawala in the building. Shout out to the Visionary in the building. Shout out to Naps in the building. Yes, I got your email. I got your email. Yes, I got it. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out. As you know, as you saw from the title, today, and like I said yesterday, today we doing the Q&A. We doing the Q&A right now. So it's like any questions you have for me, you can ask. I will answer the best way I can. And who knows where it goes. If somebody want me to drop the link, I'll drop the link. Whatever the case may be, we'll figure this out together. Matter of fact, let me put the link down right now if I can. Let me see. What's this? Okay. I copied it. Let me see. Let me put this right here. I think that's the link. I think that's how it works. But I think I put it in. So, yeah, we'll see. So let's start it off because, Banana in Pajamas asked the first question. We'll start it off now. She asks, what is my ethnicity? Are you still in the building? I don't want to I had to re-answer the question. Are you still in the building? Put one in the comment if you're still in the building. Bananas in Pajamas. Let me know, and I'm going to answer the question. All right. Lee Clinton, you still in the building? You asked, how and why did I fall out with Sonetta? Put a 1 in the chat if you still in the building. I answer your question. All right, you here? How I fell out with Sonetta. He had brought Minister Inky Minister Inky was doing an event, right? He was doing an event with Sonetta. I know it was Minister Inky event. I don't even know if Sonetta was even originally a part of it. I was going in on Minister Inky. For all y'all who don't know, so I think he changed his name to Dr. Inky or something like that. But for all y'all don't know, he was selling some type of water. We started calling it kidney water because he was selling some type of elixir. A father had bought the elixir, right? Gave it to his daughter. His daughter had drunk it. She got real sick. And they had to take her to the hospital. And they said they don't know what. They did a whole medical screening for what was in that liquid. I forgot the results of the toxicology report and all that, but it messed up her kidneys. That's why we started calling it kidney water. His daughter almost died. If he didn't get her to the hospital quick enough, she would have died behind drinking that stuff that Minister Inky sold the father. Right? So Minister Inky does what he always do, what all these scammers used to do. They used to disappear for a little bit and then come back. Well, Minister Inky was coming back after he had did that. It had like some months had passed. So he started pushing something new. So he has like a new scam. But, I remember stuff because you know how they used to do on YouTube. The YouTube grifters would leave, come back with a new name, a new channel, because this is back when YouTube you was automatically monetized. So it was nothing to lose a channel and then come right back. It was still a big deal a little bit, but it wasn't that big of a deal, especially if you had a real big name. So Minister Inky left. He came back and he started pushing like whatever new thing he was pushing. But I didn't forget. So I was going in on him. I was exposing him. I was attacking him. And again, I don't even think I even knew if Sonetta was even doing the event with him or not. But I was just going in on him. And then Sonetta just took it upon himself one day on a live stream to start calling me all kind of B words. He started calling me all kind of bitches and stuff. Like, oh, somebody asked him, like, yo, what's up with your man Javen? And he was like, yo, Haven's a bitch. Just was going in on me for no reason. Mind you, I didn't even see the live stream. Somebody had to send it to me. I'm like, somebody was like, yo, Sonetta calling you a bitch. I'm like, what you mean Sonetta calling me a bitch? Like, nah, for what? And then it went from there. I violated Inky. I messed up that whole event. That event did not sell out. It was virtually nobody came. I don't even think a lot of people bought the live stream tickets to be there to watch it. None of that. Exactly. Stinky Inky. I went in on them, and from then it's been up between me and Sonetta. That's how that go. It's been up since then. Hopefully, Lady Clinton, I answered your question. That's exactly how me and Sonetta fell out. Fell out over Minister Inky. Sonetta trying to defend Minister Inky. Mind you, Minister Inky was if I'm not mistaken, was the first person to ever flag Sonetta. That's why he got Black News 102. It's because Minister Inky flagged down Black News 101. The first person to go after Sonetta's platform and try to like ruin Sonetta on the internet, I think, was Minister Inky. Crazy. And me and him fell out with him all because of that. All right, next question. Bananas and Pajamas, you in the building? Because I want to answer your question, especially because you already set it off with the 2 jewels. Much appreciated for that. Let me know if you're still in the building so I can set it off with your question. Let me know. I think you dipped, but let me know. Let's see another question. Let's see. When did I start making videos? I think I started making I think I made my first videos, because before, when I used to make videos, I didn't speak. I would just make videos putting up receipts and stuff. And I would I would write commentary in it. So I was like, I'll put up a video of a receipt, and then I'll play a then it'll go cut to a screen of me writing exposing what was wrong with it and stuff. So that's how I started. And I think that was like 2016. It might have even been 2015, 2016. Can't really remember. Because I know I started like talking in YouTube. I started getting in comment sections around like 2015 maybe. But 2016, yeah, that's what I think when I really started making videos. And what inspired me to make the videos was the Moorish people. Like that Moorish people. I don't know if people remember, about 10 years ago, the Moors had conscious Black YouTube in a headlock. Like, no, everybody was afraid to talk to them because they felt like they wasn't smart enough. They would have everybody backing down. But I recognized they was pushing a bunch of nonsense. That sovereign citizen paperwork. I said, this paperwork nonsense is not real. I said, I gotta get these people out of here, because somebody's gonna eventually get hurt. And when I did more research on them, people did get hurt. I realized that people did get hurt in the past. People were being hurt, and people did get hurt in the future. Like we talked about Corinne Gaines. I think she was one of the victims of that Moorish paperwork, because she was riding around with with no license or something like that, no registration. That's how she got arrested, and she was talking that sovereign citizen stuff. So I made it my business to destroy them, and I did. Like that paperwork madness, that Moorish stuff. That stuff ain't nowhere near as big as it used to be. It's virtually like non-existent. And that's because of me. I really went in and got active on all of them. After I destroyed them, then you started having people try to throw shots at them later. But I already did all the heavy lifting. I destroyed them. I got the Moors completely up out of here. That paperwork nonsense. You probably still could find it here and there on the internet, but I got that thing out of here. I got it out of here. I did to the Moorish stuff what I did to the Aboriginal stuff. Remember, that Aboriginal stuff is nowhere near as big as it was in 2015. No, it started in 2015, but it turned into like a monster in like 2016, 17, 18. But I destroyed that too. I broke it. Like, it used to be a time you could not get away from that Aboriginal stuff. Now you got to go to certain corners of the internet to find it. It ain't everywhere no more. It used to be everywhere. Like, you couldn't go to no black spaces without having to talk about that Aboriginal stuff. You couldn't. Shout out to Benevolent in the building. Hopefully I answered your question, Visionary. Let me know if that answered your question. Okay, we got CRRP7GH, I think. Asking me what type of females do I like. What type of women I like. I like all women, to be honest. Like, I don't really have like a type. I don't really do type, because I think like type is more like a fantasy. Like, if you if you dating online and stuff like that, then type makes sense. But like, if you want to meet people like in the real world, type really don't make sense, because it makes sense to an extent, because type is how you approach somebody if you see them walking down the street. Like, if I see somebody walking down the street, type is what will make me approach them. If I had a type, that'll make me like, all right, that's the type of woman I'm looking for. That's what I would approach. But otherwise than that, type not really a thing to me, because I realized in my life that when you meet, a lot of people end up marrying people or dating people, having kids with people that are not quote unquote they type. Why? Because they met them in real life, and then maybe it started out as just acquaintances, or it might have just been a friendship, and then it grows into something more because they get to know each other. See, that's why those relationships last longer, because it's like, it's not based so much on the superficial. It'll be like, I didn't even like you at first, and then through the months, through the weeks, or through the years of knowing you and really getting to know you as a person, that's what I fell in love with. Not necessarily your looks, but your personality. So yeah, I don't really do type, but I love black women. Black women, number one with the run. I'm not in a relationship right now. I was in a relationship for like 17 and a half years. I'm not it's over. That was the girl was black. All my kids is black. All my kids I ever had was with her. So yeah, as far as like the dating thing goes, I'm starting over, and I don't really like, I'm not really doing like a type. I hopefully that answered your question. Let me see. Do I think Biden would have won in 2016 if he ran? Yes. I think he would have won in 2016 had he ran. He would have definitely won. Definitely. He would have definitely won. Definitely would have won. Let me see. All right, she's not in the building, but since she donated, and she's been asking me this question for so long, I'm gonna answer it. Hopefully she come back in the building, I answer it again, because I know I'm gonna get asked this again. What is my ethnicity? I will say this about my ethnicity. I can't tell people the percentages, and I cannot tell people which side of the family came from what. But I will say this: I am part Virginian, part South Carolinian, part Jamaican, part Costa Rican. That's my ethnic makeup. That's my ethnic makeup right there. And I'm black all around. Like, I'm 100% black. That's my ethnic makeup. Let me see. What other questions are people asking? Yep, that's true. Again, he fell out with me thinking that he was going to run up a bag with Inky. And the funny part is, he didn't run up a bag with Inky, and him and Inky ended up falling out. Crazy. They could be whatever, Benevolent. You can ask me any question you want. It don't have to be related to me, but it's open to be related to me. Anything you want. Did you? No, I didn't see Dan Calloway get sued. Who he got sued by? Let me know, Lord Slaughter. Who did Dan Calloway get sued by? Hopefully he got sued by one of the people he sold paperwork to. Because I remember a long time ago, somebody bought Dan Calloway paperwork and we went over it. And guess what it was? A bunch of Moorish paperwork, bunch of nonsense. Because remember, Dan Calloway was pushing that Moorish stuff before he switched to the indigenous stuff. Oh, so you've been watching me for a long time. If you remember that, shout out to you. Oh, good night, Lee. Oh, you said good evening, good night. Yeah, good evening, good night. Let's see. Oh, damn. Yes, make sure y'all liking the video. Make sure y'all sharing it. Yeah, make sure y'all doing all that. Let's see. What other questions in here that I did not answer? And you can ask multiple questions, family. You can ask multiple questions. You said with the 14th Amendment. Oh, I was saying this. Let me explain it again. When I was telling people that we're gonna go back to Jim Crow 2.0, because what was the ending of Jim Crow? The civil rights victories, right? And I said that if Trump gets into office in 2000, I said this. I said if he gets elected and he gets to flip the Supreme Court like he did, what's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of frivolous lawsuits being filed arguing that the civil rights victories were unconstitutional or that they being interpreted wrong, some type of nonsense. I said you're going to have some type of nonsense going on, and it's going to gut the civil rights victories, which will effectively put us back into Jim Crow 2.0, which will put us into Jim Crow 2.0, because we're going back to Jim Crow. So that's Jim Crow 2.0, right? And that's what we in right now. We in Jim Crow 2.0. But now I also told people that if they get the Supreme Court that they want, they might even go after the Reconstruction Amendment, which would put us back into the antebellum 2.0. Because remember, antebellum means what? That means pre-Civil War South. And I'm using that term because when we say antebellum South or antebellum, we are referring to the time when slavery it was legal, and we stopped calling the antebellum South the antebellum South when slavery was made illegal for the most part in this country, which was with what? The Reconstruction Amendments, right? That's when life really changed for Black people when we got the Reconstruction Amendments. There were 3 of them. The 13th Amendment had a loophole in it that has been fully exploited, and they're trying to find another way to exploit it. The 15th Amendment was never fully realized until we got the civil rights victories. So by them gutting the civil rights victories around voting and representation, that's gone. The only thing left is the 14th Amendment. If they get the 14th Amendment, then Black people will be effectively back into the antebellum South. Back into the I'm not even going to say antebellum South. I'm going to say antebellum era, which means we will be in antebellum 2.0. Because remember, the Civil War did not end slavery. Slavery still existed after the Civil War was over. When the Civil War ended, Black people were still slaves for the most part. They were still blacks. There were still Black people that were slaves, and none of us had citizenship. So if they can mess with our citizenship in any little way, shape, or form, that's it. We'll be back to being a stateless people with some of us being enslaved. Because remember, if you in jail, you are technically a slave. If you in jail or on papers or anything like that, you are technically a slave. And again, like I said, they're trying to find new ways to enslave us. Because you got that bozo RFK talking about how he wants to create these farms where people are going to be sent to. They're not going to have no access to the internet. They have no choice but to be there, and they have to grow food while they're there. And surprise, surprise, a lot of people that fit the description and the diagnosis for people he wants to send there are young Black boys. Who would have thought that you want to send a bunch of young Black boys in the prime of their life, young Black boys, young Black men, and make them have to go live on a farm where they cannot leave, they have no access to the outside world, and they must do farm work. They gotta pick cotton, pick vegetables, and all this other stuff. Who would have thought that? That's what I said. Like, we'll basically be in the antebellum era again, antebellum 2.0. Will it be as bad as the first antebellum era? No. Just like Jim Crow 2.0 is not as bad as the original Jim Crow, but it is still bad, and we are here. And let me see what's the second part of your question. Oh, it'll affect it'll affect all black people, because you asked how it'll affect black immigrants too, and everybody. It'll affect everybody because, one, we have less political power. We have less rights, less freedoms, less opportunities. Remember, black people, we got as much as we got right now. We got the highest standard of living that we ever had before because of those victories. Once that's gone, you don't have it. Like we are watching right now, the evisceration of the black middle class, because a lot of that, those civil rights legislations where companies couldn't discriminate against us, where we had that they had to have representation and all this other stuff, that's gone. And so black people are going. They're not hiring black people like they used to. They're firing black people like crazy. Also, this affects us with politics. Those congressional districts that they got rid of, that they're getting rid of throughout the whole South, those are black congressional districts. Like, people keep saying, oh, this don't affect us really because that's just the Democrats. That's not just the Democrats. Those are black areas. Like they argued in court. They could easily have drawn lines that would give a Democrat a strong seat, but it wouldn't give black people the say in that seat. They specifically drew those lines so black people would have the say. Black people would get to pick their candidates, which means black people were free to vote for a Democrat. They were free to vote for a Republican. They were free to create their own party. They were free to vote for a candidate, an independent candidate. They was free to vote for a woman. They was free to vote for a man. They was free to vote for somebody who was straight, somebody who was LGBTQ. They was free to vote for a white person. They was free to vote for a black person. They was free to vote for whoever they wanted. It was black people had the power to pick. And then now that's gone. That's gone. That's how it affects us. Because remember, we only got what we got because we have all this representation. We have all this power. We have all this say so. We could push our issues to the front of the line and get real things done. We have lost that ability to a large extent. It ain't completely gone, but we have lost it to a large extent. And another way that this will affect African Americans and black immigrants differently is that this will be a best of times, worst of times scenario, because black immigrants usually live in like northern areas and stuff like that. So they still got their representation, which will give them a bigger voice for black people. While African Americans will have a smaller voice because the majority of African Americans live in the South. Like, that's what I was saying to people before. I said, y'all celebrating this, because I told them before it even happened that this was going to happen. And then when it happened, I said, y'all stupid, y'all celebrating this, but do y'all understand that y'all have given black immigrants a lot of power? Because a lot of those black people, because remember, they said the Congressional Black Caucus is majority black immigrants. That's not true, but it's becoming more true by the day, because a lot of the black people who were in there are getting kicked out of office because they was from the South. Which means when it comes to black issues, those black immigrants are going to have more say, and they're going to be the ones who get to dominate and direct the conversation around black issues. Like I said before, Somalis have more political power right now at the federal level than black people in Mississippi. They got more representation and more political power. So now when Ilhan Omar speaks, she's speaking for black people more than she ever did before, because she's the only one there. She's not the only one there, but she's going to be one of the only ones there. So they're going to have the power. They're going to be able to speak. They're going to be able to point the direction. And nobody else is going to be able to do anything about it, because, again, what can people in Mississippi do about it? If they don't like the way this person is talking at the federal level, or that person is saying black people need this, black people want that, and they saying no, we don't. The only recourse was to elect your own representatives and let them challenge it. But if you can't elect no representatives, you can't challenge it. You can't challenge it. I hope I answered your question, Calm Drop. Let me know if I didn't do a good job or you want me to clarify some things. Because I felt like I was like doing a little bit of rambling right there at the end. Because you did ask a long, sophisticated question. You said the stream is breaking up? Let me know if the stream is breaking up, y'all. Oh my God. Is the stream breaking up? Let me know. All right. Oh, you said it's better now. All right, cool. All right, cool. You said, is America a nationality or continent? Is United States more accurate? No. The United States is several things. It depends on where you're from and who's teaching it. If you live outside of the United States, then you think when you hear America, you're thinking about the Western Hemisphere. You're thinking about North America, South America, Central America, the Caribbean. That's how it's taught to you if you're outside of America. If you inside the United States, because again, when they refer to America, the United States of America, they just say United States. If you inside the United States of America, when you hear America, you only think of the United States of America. In America, we refer to the Western Hemisphere, North America, South America, Central America, the Caribbean, collectively as the Americas. We call it the Americas. We don't call it just America. We call it the Americas. So again, it depends on who you're talking to. It depends on who you're talking to and what context are you talking. If you're talking about inside of the United States of America, America is a country. You're talking about to people outside of America, America is the Western Hemisphere. If you're talking to people inside of the United States of America, the Western Hemisphere is the Americas. So it all depends. So it all depends on who you're talking to and who you're dealing with. But I will say this, though. The United States of America is effectively a continent nation. Like, people don't realize how big the United States of America is. It's effectively damn near the whole North American continent. Not all the way, but most of it, especially most of the like livable parts and stuff. Oh, thank you. Yes, I got to take care of my kids. You already know that. Thank you, Lee. Let's see. What's the saddest part? The saddest part is that it's two saddest parts. Saddest part is that they are literally going against everything Black people ever stood for in this nation. They going against everything Black people ever stood for in this nation, and it's emboldening in our enemies. Because I don't know if people know this. I'm from New York. I say that a lot. I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. So I know a lot of Black immigrants. Brooklyn is mainly Black immigrants. Like, the majority of Black people live in Brooklyn, I would say, got some type of Black immigrant ancestry or are immigrants themselves. And there are, and throughout our history, like if you check going back over 120 years ago, you always had a small, tiny group of Black immigrants who tried to convince the other Black immigrants that African Americans was their enemies and that they didn't really like them and they was just using them. They've been saying this for like over a century. Over a century, done had this, but it never caught on because the average Black immigrant who dealt with African Americans realized that's not true. So that sentiment never caught on. Never caught on. But now, via these bozos on the internet, they so vocal, they so loud, they allow people to be like, see, I told you. Look, this is how they really feel. I told you. And now you're starting to see more and more Black people who have immigrant ancestry or immigrants or people around the world like, yeah, you might have been right. You might have been right. This is how they felt. You're right. They don't like us. You're right. They do see us as enemies. And you're right. They are our enemies. Like, look at O'Shea. If I was somebody from Africa who never been to America or nothing like that, and the only reason I even know anything about black people in America is because I watch O'Shea, Dookie Jackson, I would say, yeah, those people are our ops. They don't like us. Yeah, they only came here to exploit us. And because they can't exploit us, now they showing us their true colors. They no different than the white man. They no different than anybody else. That's the saddest part to me. The second saddest part is that we watched 160 years worth of progress, struggle that black people have attained on this land go up in smoke. Go up in smoke. Do you know we had to fight since when Reconstruction, from the end of slavery? It took us, we had to go through a century of Jim Crow, a century of marching, fighting, dying, begging, pleading, working, striving, all that to get those civil rights victories. And then we had to fight another 60 years to keep them, to keep the civil rights victories, to maintain them, to expand them, to protect them, to enforce them. 60 years worth of fighting, and just to watch all that go up in the smoke. Like, I had a clip. I don't even know where that clip is at. I got to find that clip. When Donald Trump was like, I think he signed an executive order, which was one of the first blows to the civil rights victories. He was like, 60 years, we just reversed 60 years of like something, like saying like as it was a good thing. And he was right. 60 years was reversed. 60 years of progress for black people. 60 years. Like, think about that. 160 years went down the drain. How many decades? We got to measure this in decades, in generations of how long it would take just to get us back to zero. Not to progress the race, just to get us back to zero. Just to get the black community back to zero, you got to measure that in decades and generations. Like, there's people right now listening to me who grandkids are going to have to fight the fight just to get back to where we was in 2015. Your grandkids maybe will be trying to fight as adults with their own kids, will be fighting to push it forward to get black people back to that point. This ain't no game. This not no joke. This is why I really despise these people. I really despise these people for what they have done. Oh, you saw Dan Calloway did get sued today? I'm going to go look into that. Shout out to the Lord of Slaughter for coming through with the $199. Appreciate it. Whole lot of ones with a whole lot of nuns any day of the week. Thank you for that $199. You said Afro Think Tank posted it, made a post about it. All right, I'm going to check that out because I wasn't on the internet today. Only thing I did on the internet today, I think I opened Twitter and I saw something about the brother who plays, I forgot his name, played Delta Slim, that he getting a Hollywood star, and I just retweeted that and I got off. Shout out to Benevolent in the building. The reason why, shout out to Benevolent for this question. He asked, why do some people who say African Americans don't have culture, who started it? That started from Americans don't have culture. See, that's the thing about the black people don't have culture talk. It means different things to different people at different times. When people were saying African Americans don't have culture, they were just saying that in general. Because if you cut to Google, do Americans have culture? You'll find books, articles, blogs, videos, everything with people arguing that yes, we do have culture. Other people arguing no, you don't have culture. Because remember, culture is a nebulous term. It's a nebulous term. It's a nebulous term. It means different things to different people at different times. So that whole African Americans don't have culture, it depends on who you're talking about. Because a lot of times, African Americans started that about themselves. And what they mean by they didn't have culture was they didn't have their African culture. That's why if you watch a lot of old videos, like with Malcolm X, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, we don't got our names. We don't got our original religion. We don't know where we come from. We don't know our tribe. We don't know our more ways. We don't know our four ways. We don't know our religion. We don't know our spiritual practices. That's them saying we don't have our culture. And by culture, they mean our African culture, which is a fact. We don't have it. We don't have it. That's why, again, that's why I don't respect a lot of the FBA bozos, because they weaponize that you African Americans don't have culture, black people don't have culture talk, when they know that type of talk we've been saying about ourselves for centuries, about not knowing who we are, as in our history in Africa. And a lot of them used to say it. Because again, if I play a clip of Dr. Khalid Muhammad saying that, they're not gonna buck against it. They're not gonna argue against it. None of that. None of that. But that's the same thing. Because when that African dude was talking, who I don't like, I covered his video before when he was saying black African Americans don't have culture. He was, if you listen to the context of what he was saying, he was basically saying we don't have our African culture, which is true. We don't have a lot of our African culture. That's not an argument. That's not a big deal. Another way people say, when they say black people don't have culture, they mean it the way Kai Cenat said. When Kai Cenat said black people don't have culture, they was talking about an ethnic culture. He was talking about an ethnic culture, which is also true, because the black identity in America has always been racial, first and foremost. Always racial. It has not changed since slavery. When we was enslaved, it didn't matter. Nobody cared about what tribe you came from. Nobody cared about your genetic makeup or none of that. If you was black, you was our people, period. That's it. That's all that mattered. You may have been from a different area, but you still our people. That's all that matters. And it continued that way after slavery. This is why when you started having black immigrants and other black people come into the community in like the 1880s and stuff like that, they were never mistreated. Nobody saw them as a different ethnic group or immigrants or nothing like that. They just saw them as black people. Y'all are people. That's it. We just black. We are just black. So we never drew no ethnic boundaries. Even when we had quote unquote ethnic things, we opened it up for everybody. Nobody ever was told, hey, you can't be a part of this organization. You're not African American. Hey, you can't be a leader. You're not Black American. Hey, you can't speak for us. You're not a Negro. Or hey, you can't come to this event. You not colored. Or you not black. We never did that. It was always open. And I'm, again, somebody from being from New York, I seen this firsthand. I seen other groups have they stuff for their group. And yes, people not a part of that group can come, but it's their stuff. While black people stuff is open to everybody. Like I even found out about the African American Day Parade from my friend who was from Grenada. He was like, yo, I'm about to go to the African American. I'm like, yo, what's up with you? Where you about to head out? He said, yo, I can't wait. No. I asked him like, yo, what you getting into this weekend? He said, yo, I can't wait. That it's the African American Day parade. He said it's gonna be lit. I go every year. I'm like, you go? He's like, yeah, I go. And I'm like, first of all, I didn't even know black people even had their own parade. But he went there and he felt no way about it. He didn't feel like he was gonna get somebody he was overstepping or anything like that, because black people stuff is open to everybody and we welcome everybody in. Think about it. HBCUs, NAACP, all our organizations, it's just black. The Congressional Black Caucus, it's just black. We just do color. That's it. And so from that perspective, from somebody who comes from like a culture, an ethnic group where their culture is like gate kept, that looks like you don't have one. You just black. Like I'm just as much a part of your culture as you are. And I don't know nothing about it. I'm an immigrant. I just came here and y'all already just letting me in. That can never work like that in reverse. So that's hopefully I answered your question about the culture thing. Because again, culture is a nebulous term. Saying somebody doesn't have culture is like saying somebody doesn't have a life. You got to explain what you mean by that. And again, all the versions of black people don't have no culture can be like explained away and make sense. And oh yeah, it's one other version, which is like you'll bump into like 1% of the time, where people genuinely mean black people have no culture, as in black people literally are just like some group that doesn't do anything, that has done nothing noteworthy. That's 1% of the time. You will bump into people like that. I have bumped into people like that once, but I have bumped into somebody like that, and I had to set them straight. But yeah, nine out of 10 times if somebody say that black people don't have no culture, 99% of the time, they either mean you don't have an ethnic culture or you don't have your original African culture. So hopefully I answered your question with that. Thoughts on Dr. Umar? Trash. Umar's trash. At a certain point, he's basically a meme now, and at a certain point, he's doing more harm than good. He's doing more harm than good right now. He's doing more harm than good, because he ran around claiming that he was the Prince of Pan-Africanists this whole time and said that he was going to get this school popping and he was going to do this and he was going to do that. So by him failing to do so, that looks like Pan-Africanism failed. That's why he's doing more harm than good. He's doing way more harm than good. And he's constantly getting caught up in scandals. Constantly, because he can't control his dick. Can't control his dick. And plus, he stopped learning. I listen to Umar now. He sounds like a complete bozo. He still got some intelligence with him, but you can see that it has regressed, because it's only but so long you can stay in a around people who are less smart than you, before you become less smart. Because guess what? The stuff that you did to become smart in the first place, you're not doing anymore. I can tell Umar's not reading anymore. I can tell. By the way he talks about certain new topics and stuff, you're not reading anymore. The information you're giving is outdated. You're not staying actively engaged with the knowledge. You're not. Because while you're dealing with people who are not as smart as you, who can't challenge you, who just look at you as a teacher. So they will accept anything you say. So yeah, he's doing more harm than good. Between the scandals, the failed school, now he's grifting into the FBA stuff. Hey, keep calling me. Like I thought I had my phone on mute too. Like crazy. Yeah, he's freedman. Let me see. I gotta text this person. They keep calling me. Yes. Now he's like grifting into the freedman stuff. Yeah, he's no good no more. Once he officially started grifting into the freedman stuff, he is officially trash. Like, you repping freedmen, you pushing xenophobia, and you failed to deliver to school while claiming to be the Prince of Pan-Africanism. So that means to me, Pan-Africanism is a lie. If I'm a regular person, Pan-Africanism is a lie, and Tariq is the truth. Pan-Africanism is dead, and Tariq is the truth. Because freedmen can't be right, but Pan-Africanism is right. It got to be one or the other. And if the Prince of Pan-Africanism is pushing FBA, then that means FBA is right, and Pan-Africanism is truly dead. Thank you, Lee. Make sure y'all supporting the stream. Oh, shout out to East Coast Kev for coming through with the 5. Much appreciated, bro. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you for coming through with the 5. Whole lot of ones beat a whole lot of nuns any day of the week, y'all, too. Thank y'all for everybody who's donating and contributing to the stream. Thank you so much. Let me see. Let me read this. Oh, they got him? You think the feds even got him? That's even better. Even better. Because again, like I said, people, for the purpose of being complete, people have actually bought the paperwork. Because a lot of people say, oh, if you had got the paperwork, you would understand. Oh, you're not really understanding. You're not getting the deeper knowledge because you ain't got the paperwork. People bought the paperwork and went over it. It was a bunch of Moorish citizens, sovereign citizen nonsense. He didn't even have the decency to swap out the word more and put Aboriginal. He just released the paperwork as is. And the funny part about that also, you only had access to the paperwork for a limited amount of time. So you paid them, so you don't get to keep the paperwork. You get to read it, and then your access to it gets canceled after 24 hours or something like that. And you got to pay again to read it again. Disgusting scammer. Good thing. Shout out to Jackie. Good evening. What would I like to see happen to them? I would like to see for them to go away, be completely discredited, and people forever know them as a white nationalist psyop who helped lead black people, who helped undo 160 years of progress for black people. I want them to be known for that. Like, I officially want Tariq and all of them to be in black history books where children 100 years from now learn about them and their name become synonymous with traitor. I want them to live out the rest of their lives being looked at as traitors and being known and having to live with the knowledge that in the history books, after you dead, you'll still be known, but as a traitor. You'll be known as a traitor for the rest of your life. And when you die, you'll still be known as a traitor forevermore. Your name will be, you guys will be synonymous with treason against the black race. That's what I want to see happen to them. Oh, shout out to Lee. Yes, I would like to go on this channel too. That's another thing. I'm gonna start asking to go on other people's platforms who I feel is a little bit neutral. Like, you don't even gotta be Pan-Africanist. You can even be a little, maybe a little FBA or whatever. But I feel like I can have a good conversation with you for edification of the people. I'll go on your platform. So maybe I'll reach out to bro and try to go on this platform. Shout out to Lee for always keeping me up to date and informed. Yes, RFK is trying to get some sweat equity out of the people. Yep, he's trying to get some sweat equity. I ain't making that up. He's trying to get some sweat equity. Yes, Tariq is definitely distracting. Let me see. Let me read some more comments, more questions. Exactly. Let's see. Oh, shout out to you, Calm Drop. The stream is fine. The stream is fine. Okay. Oh yeah, I know Tariq is on vacation in Japan. I just saw it. Guys, like I said, I just saw that. I saw that the other day. I was going to talk about that, but I didn't. He on vacation in Japan. While black people in America are suffering, he on vacation in Japan with his family. Why he didn't go to? He's spending money with Asians. Mind you, don't know what's so funny about that? There's supposed to be an Asian boycott going on, and Tariq Nasheed is in an Asian country dropping off a bag. Remember, everybody was just complaining about how racist the Japanese were, and they was talking about boycotting Japan because they talked about how they was making black people sound like they was Vulturemites. And look where Tariq is at, in Japan, dropping off a bag. You know he's spending a bag out there. You know he's spending a big bag out there. While everybody else is pushing boycott, he in Japan. Great point. Thank you. Let me see. All right, the visionary asks, what makes liberalism? What makes liberalism better is because first of all, it depends on what kind of socialism you're talking about. So I'm pretty sure you're talking about socialism. Because since you said despite capitalism, so I'm pretty sure you're probably talking about more Marxist stuff. What makes it better is because it's more natural. It's more in alignment with humanity. Socialism trying to reorganize all of human society, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. You can't reorganize humanity like that. You can't. And it's based on a false premise. Like, you're never going to get rid of class. It's always going to be classes. You're never going to be able to just make things where it's like, well, we'll just make enough, and that's it. It's like, it's just so much bad things into it. Like, I gotta really, like, let me do your question justice. Let me really think here about some of the examples, because matter of fact, visionary, explain which socialism you talking about, because I don't want to go off into talking about like Marxism and talking about the Soviet Union and all that other stuff, and then people be like, well, we talking about Bernie Sanders and the Scandinavian countries. So let me know what type of socialism you're talking about. But what makes liberalism better, especially what I push, social liberalism, is because it allows people to live. And it's about making sure everybody get a shot. It's about making sure everybody get a shot. It's a floor under everybody. We don't let nobody go past this point. We don't have homeless people on the street. We don't have people starving. We don't have none of this other nonsense. We make sure everybody get a floor, and you do what you can do from that floor. We make sure everybody got a ladder out of poverty. It's up to you to climb the ladder, whether you want to or not. You fall and rise on your own merit. It's actually merit. That's why I push that, and that's what makes it better. That's what makes it better. And my thoughts about capitalism is the same thing. Same way I feel about capitalism is the same way I feel about fire. Fire can be the most destructive force known to man if it's not properly managed, and it can be the best source of energy to man if it's properly managed. It's like a house, like an old school house. People used to have fire to cook their food, fire to heat the house. Fire did a whole bunch of good things for them. But what happens if the fire got out of control? It would destroy the house. It would kill the people, everything. And that's the same thing we're seeing with capitalism. Capitalism right now is an out of control fire. It's an out of control fire. That's why I push social liberalism, because it still allows people to make money, but just believe there will be the government will be there to regulate. There will be government regulation. So certain things that we see companies doing, they're not going to be able to do. They're not going to be able to do. We can put an end to that. It's like, it's not, oh, corporations have money and they got all the power. That's only people only see it that way now because that's how it exists now. It wasn't like that before. It wasn't like that before. But yeah, let me know what kind of, specifically what type of socialism you're talking about, the visionary, so I could answer that part a little bit better. Let's keep it going. AZ asks, how would I handle an FBA person calling me a tether in my face? It depends on who's doing it and where we at. Like, if it's just like a regular person or something like that, I'll probably pop it off on them. It depends. I don't advocate nobody else I don't push violence for nobody else. So I'm not saying like, oh, if you see somebody FBA on the street and you hear them saying the word tether, punch them in the face. I say to each his own. And it does depend on the situation. But it's a good chance. How my phone is not on silent? It's a good chance that it might turn bad. Like, if they saw me and they knew who I was and they was pressing me down, like, oh, you're Javen from YouTube. You're a tether. You're a tether. What's up now? What's up now, tether? You're not on the internet. Yeah, it'll probably go bad. It'll probably go real bad for them. Real bad. I don't play those games. It depends. It's like, if we talking about a specific topic, I don't want to get off the topic with people asking questions that have nothing to do with the topic, because that could mess up my train of thought. And again, we discussing a simple a specific topic, but I'm okay with people asking questions. Like, if you gotta let it be known that, like, hey, this is off topic, and maybe I'll answer it between segments. But just asking me anything out the blue, especially if it's not like important or emergency or something that's actively happening, I'll prefer maybe we save it for a Q&A day. But again, you're free to ask any question you want to ask. Just know that I might not be able to answer it or in the detail if it doesn't have anything to do with the topic. Or you might have to wait until I get done with the topic and then I'll answer your question. But shout out to you for that one. Let's see something real quick. Yes, social media is super dangerous. A fire. It's just like a fire too. Like you said, it's spreading like wildfire. Super dangerous if people are not doing it right. Let's see. Yes, and that's a fact. That's a fact. I know that's a fact now because Donald Trump actually tried to overthrow the United States, the government of the United States of America, and people still came out and voted for him. So there's nothing he could do. I wouldn't say FBA is growing stronger by the day. They're growing more stupid about a day, but they're not growing stronger. There's no strength in this. They're not going stronger. What's happening is there's starting to be more people to try to grift it because they've fallen off and they see that it's an easy bag to do that, but they're not growing stronger. They're getting more grifters, but they're not really growing stronger. And they're getting dumber. Shout out to that's amazing for coming through with the 5. Much appreciated. LeBron going to the Sixers. I didn't know that. If he do, that's good. It's good wherever he go. I would have liked him to go to Brooklyn because I felt that would have been better for his career, especially because he chasing the bag. Because let's be serious. If you left the Lakers because they wouldn't give you a max contract, that means you just chasing the bag, which means you should have just went to Brooklyn. That means you would have not only got your max contract, but you would have made way more money, sold way more jerseys, and the intense rivalry between us of having a Subway series, the possibility of having a Subway playoff series between the Knicks and Brooklyn would have made him more money than he ever made in jersey sales and ad revenue, anything. So he should have did that. He should have did that. So yeah, let's see. Absolutely loved it. All right. Shout out to Black Adam in the building. Let's see. Exactly, AZ. But they performative. That's what they do. That's what they do. Let me see. Oh, Calm Joe asked a question. Oh, I'm about to put together like a little reading list. Because for all you who don't know, because if people who followed me a long time ago, they know I got a library in my house. Like literally, like maybe like a 600 book library in my house. So yeah, I might put together a little reading list of like books you can read to like learn things. I might do that in the future. But shout out to you for that, Con Drop. But that's pretty much how I got so knowledgeable about things. Not just like reading, but just living life, listening to smart people who are actually educated, who do this for a living, like who give lectures and stuff like that. That's how I really came up on a knowledge like this. Life, being outside, living life, because life is is one of the best teachers. Experience, LOX, living off experience. Shout out to Jada Kiss, Styles P, Chic Luch. Reading is good. And like basically like watching like documentaries and listening to lectures from really smart people. That's why that goes back to my point about Umar. Umar has made it has made it his business to be around people who he knows is not smarter than him, or he feels is not smarter than him. And he's been doing that for so long, he doesn't feel like he needs to like keep studying, keep being sharp, keep staying current with the with the news. And that's making him dumber because he doesn't seem as smart as he used to be, because he's not. Like, shout out to you for that. But yeah, I definitely will think about doing that. Yes, African American is an ethnic group, but it's also a racial group too. Because shout out to East Coast Kev, because again, ethnicity is a tricky term. It's a very tricky term. That's why, like, I forgot what's the anthropologist. I'm probably gonna do a pre-record about that, who discuss the criteria to be an ethnic group. And the funny part about it is, it's more of, do the people themselves see themselves as an ethnic group, and do outsiders see them as an ethnic group, and some other things. But yes, we are an ethnic group, but a lot of the times is Black people in America, we don't actually engage with that. We don't actually see ourselves as an ethnic group. We basically see ourselves as a racial group. We see ourselves, again, as just Black. Most Black people don't even engage with the concept of ethnicity until they get confronted with it. Most people just, I'm Black. I'm Black, you Black. Doesn't matter what kind of Black, because if the Ku Klux Klan come through, they're going to kill us all. They're not going to ask no questions. And again, that goes back to slavery. And it also goes back to the fact that we are minority. Because again, that point of view was everywhere. It changed because when slavery ended, these other Black people got a country. And they were the majority in that country. They didn't have to go through a Jim Crow. They didn't have to worry about, well, we just all Black. And also, those islands, a lot of those countries are very small. Think about it. Jamaica is the biggest West Indian island. There's more people in New York City than there are in Jamaica. New York, America is a continent nation. Every state is basically like its own country. That's why we don't call them provinces. Other countries have provinces. We have states, because every state is like its own country. But shout out to you, East Coast Kev. You already know. Thank you for all your support. You said there's a Zulu parade where people do blackface. No, it's not the people doing blackface, because it's Black people wearing the paint. It's them basically celebrating the Zulu. The thing is, Black people in America always try to connect themselves to Africa some type of way, especially back in the days. And again, a lot of times, because there was no internet, knowledge was hard to come by, they would know about certain things, and then they would try to celebrate it the best way they could. That's why they just recently they started inviting actual Zulu people from South Africa to come to New Orleans to show them how to celebrate. Because when I first saw it, I thought it was a bunch of white people doing blackface. No, it's Black people wearing that paint. Because I think that parade was set up to celebrate the Zulu victory over the British, to commemorate and celebrate it. But again, they had no point of reference on how the Zulu would actually celebrate it and how they look. So they just basically went with what they thought it could be. Yeah. So yeah. Shout out to you for that. Shout out to Reg. I know. That's what I said. It's open to everybody. It's open to everybody. Like I said, like when you go to these events, because again, I'm from Brooklyn. I done been to mad events. And again, I'm not a part of these ethnic groups of all these events, but it was always welcome. I was always welcome. It was always open, but it was their event. Like I couldn't go in there and be like, all right, we all Black, and I think this event should go this way, that way. They'd be like, oh, no. That's out. You're welcome to be here and participate and celebrate, but no, not that. Not that. Not that. And that's like a kind of a difference, because again, like isn't the leader of Howard University our most important HBCU? Isn't he like from Trinidad? I don't think a Black person could just come from America and just become the leader of the most important university in Trinidad, unless he was like invited there to do like some type of reform or something like that. That ain't going down like that. You said, do I consider myself a black feminist? No. I'm looking into feminism. I've been studying feminism. I read Bell Hooks, um, um, Ain't I a Woman? I read I forgot the sister name, Hood Feminist. So I'm not a black feminist. But I will say this, I don't I don't do patriarchy neither. And I will say this also, a lot of the behavior that we seen from these that we have seen from these red pill, because not all red pill, I don't want to paint a broad brush, because not all red pill people are the same, but and not all passport bros are the same. But you know who I'm talking about when I say red pill, passport bro, MGTOW types. They create the need for black feminism. They create the market. Just like I said, like FBA opens that door where people start saying, yeah, you know what? African Americans are our enemy. They don't like us because they see what they doing. Well, a lot of that behavior that you've seen from the manosphere, Negro manosphere types, they open the door for feminism. They create their own hell. Their behavior is the reason why there will always be black feminists. Because if you're engaging in that type of patriarchal white man behavior, you're going to create the need for feminism. Because how did feminism start? Feminism started by white women trying to combat the white man's patriarchy. So if you're black and you're trying to engage in the white man's patriarchy, then you legitimize the black feminists existing. Because remember, what was one of the biggest knocks on black feminism when it first started? The black man never did to the black woman what the white man did to the white woman. So there's no need for black feminism. But now that we see a bunch of black men trying to do their best white man impersonation, you're creating the need for black feminism. Like you're creating your own hell. Shout out to Afro Royalty. No, I didn't see the clip of Cameron saying that. But Cameron could be clout chasing the FBA stuff too. And Cameron don't even know that he not FBA. And the moment he step out of line, they're going to violate him too. They're going to be like, he not one of us. So yeah, I didn't see it, but yeah. You said most cultures have a national dish? Correct. Do black Americans have? Jumping the broom is one of them, but we got that from like pretty much I forgot where jumping the broom came from. But that's one of them. And I think we had another one. But again, a lot of that got faded because that's another thing with the black community. Going back to the culture aspect. We don't retain a lot of our culture. Like a lot of things that we do that's a cultural practice stop being passed down. So we basically start back over. That's why it's like if you actually like look at the black community, it's like every like 2 generations we start over. It's like the community basically just start from scratch. That's another reason why people were saying we don't actually have a culture. That's another reason why they were saying people say Americans don't have a culture. Yeah, that's another reason. Because it's basically we not retain anything. Like the person just said about the national dish. What is the national dish of Black America? African Americans. There's a lot of like cultural things that other communities do, other ethnic groups do that we don't do. And that's not just the case with Black America, that's the case with white America too. This is why, again, going back to what I said about culture, if you go online and type in "Do Americans have culture?" you'll find countless books, countless articles, countless videos, countless everything debating this point. And a lot of times people will point out things like that. Like, oh, Americans don't really have a culture. What's your national dish? What's your traditions in this? What do y'all do with this or that? They ask these questions. And a lot of times Americans have no answer. And they'll be like, see, you don't have a culture. But we do. It's just different. It's just different. We hold the culture differently. That's why I said When somebody asks about culture and Americans or Black Americans or white Americans or whatever, it always depends on the context of which the person is asking the question and what does the person actually mean by culture, because a culture is a nebulous term. Saying somebody has no culture is like saying somebody has no life. What do you mean by that? Because there's people who will tell you you don't have a life because you play video games. There are people who will tell you you don't have a life because you follow sports seriously. There are people who tell you you don't have a life because all you do is read books. It always depends on who is talking and what exactly do they mean by that. Exactly, Vegeta. The culture question, like I said, the culture question was originally about Europeans telling white people in America they don't have no culture. That's what it turned into, and then it turned into Americans have no culture. And then the question keep getting batted back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You already know. Shout out to Calvin Jones in the building. Let me see. Yeah, he a grifter, so that makes sense. Subscription-based lineage. Yep. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Ann Coulter? My thoughts on Ann Coulter is that she's a white, she's a racist, she's a bigot, she's not somebody who will be taken serious. And it makes me mad when I see these bozos trying to grift off her because she allegedly said something nice or something that is like true about Black Americans. And that's not the case. See, the devil even quoted scripture. Just because she said something true here or there doesn't mean anything. She's doing it for her own personal gain to push racism. That's the only reason she's doing it. She's the enemy. Exactly. Human garbage. Definitely human garbage for that. They all plagiarize. All these bozos do is plagiarize. They take other. I remember I did a video where I took young Pharaoh and took his lecture and put it side by side with a white man's lecture. It was word for word, bar for bar, the same thing. The only thing he changed was the graphs. So when a white man was pointing to one graph speaking, young Pharaoh just made his own graph version and spoke the same thing. That's the only difference. Oh, but I don't read them out loud. But that's why I put them on the screen, and I read them to myself because that's the best way for me to read it and understand it truly. Because I'm like, as you can see, I can't. I don't know if people know this. I'm on like a small my monitor. I can't really see that good, that clear on it because of the way I gotta have my screen like split and stuff. And on top of that, I need glasses. I have glasses, but those glasses make it harder to read with the screen because it's like those glasses just for like I use for like driving if I need to drive. But I don't have like glasses that like protect you and make it easy for you to read off a screen. So that's why I don't really read them out loud. Also, because I have dyslexia, so I gotta read them to myself over and over and over so I really understand it. Because if I read it out loud, I might be saying the words wrong because either I'm seeing it wrong or just my mind is interpreting it wrong because I have dyslexia. But that's why I read them to myself. And that's why I always put them on the screen too, so people can read them for themselves. That's why I do it. Salute, Presell. Shout out to you being in the building. I think the money changed them. Umar was not ready for the money and the fame. The money and the fame changed Umar. He was not ready for it. He was not ready for it. He was not ready for it. He was not ready for it at all. He was not ready for it. And that's what changed him. The money and the fame. And he became a narcissist. He became a megalomaniac where he thought he could single-handedly save the Black race. Like that's why. That's what changed Umar. That's what changed them. That's what I think changed them. The money, the fame, the access to the women. All that is what changed them. Let's see. Let me see. FBA can only survive with capitalizing with the capitalist class. That's not true. Black people who are rich don't support FBA. Like FBA is a white nationalist psyop. Like black people in positions of power don't support FBA. Even the ones who are like black Republicans, you don't even see black Republicans supporting FBA. Exactly. Measles is out of control. We got all kind of stuff out of control. Though you can't eat the lettuce. Nothing. None of that. None of that. Ridiculous. That's one of the reasons it doesn't work. That's one of the reasons it doesn't work. And plus, it doesn't take into account that people want to live like the elites. Like, think about it. A lot of people join socialist revolutions because they wanted to live like the people who was oppressing them. They wanted to live like that, but without the oppression. That's the reason they joined it. They joined it for a higher standard of living. They didn't join it to have the same standard of living or a little better standard of living. They want a house. They didn't join a socialist revolution to go live in a shared apartment. They joined it because they want a house. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely doing a quick video on Tariq being in Japan. Definitely, that's definitely coming. Vegeta, you said that's not true. I think that is true. It doesn't. I'm not gonna say that's completely why it doesn't work, but that's one of the reasons. People, there's always gonna be somebody who's greedy. There's always gonna be somebody who's greedy. UBI. So you asking how I feel about a universal basic income? I don't think it's necessary. Not at this point. It's not necessary. You don't need it. You don't need it. All you need is to make corporations pay people a living wage, and also when you have taxes, build a social safety net, an actual social safety net where nobody's going to be homeless because there's no need for homelessness. We already got the numbers. It's literally cheaper to just give a homeless person a house than it is to let a homeless person be homeless. Homeless people, not only does it like feel bad to look at homeless people, not only do you not want to be around them, not only does being homeless not make people crazy, but it's like bad on a moral level, it's bad on an economic level. If you only, even if you don't care about humans, you just care about money, you would make sure there's no homeless people, because the homeless cost more to be homeless than to be housed. So I don't think I necessarily agree with a universal basic income as of right now. I just say this: corporations need to pay people their work. It's just that simple. You got these billion-dollar corporations paying people minimum wage. That gotta go. That gotta go. So yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that right now. I'm not gonna say it's a bad idea, but I'm just gonna say I don't necessarily agree with it. Let's see. Exactly. Oh, he's being sued for plagiarism. That's good. That's real good. That's real good. He definitely gonna lose that. Oh yeah, that's a conversation you're having between yourself. Oh, definitely. I definitely started doing that. Let's see. Let's keep it going. You said how old am I? I can't give my exact age, but I'm gonna say I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 30s. Can't give the exact age, but I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 30s. Shout out to the boogeyman for that question. I'm in my 30s. How do you stop it? Easy. You got to remember, the only reason capital has the influence over legislators that it does is because of racism. Think about this. During the Great Progressive Era, capital had no power. They couldn't get nobody in a position of power. They had no power. Remember, FDR, what did he say about rich people? I welcome their hate. I welcome it. And they couldn't do anything. Remember, the rich tried everything. They tried to do a military coup. They tried to do assassinations. They tried to run celebrities. Remember, that running celebrities because we can't win on the issues is not a new thing with the Republican Party. They've been doing that. It's just that the type of celebrity that they run is different. They did everything, but they could not win. You know why they couldn't win? Because nobody was going to vote for a party that said, hey, vote for giving rich people all the money and letting corporations do whatever they want to do. When you got another party saying, no, we're not going to let the rich people do whatever they want to do. We're going to make sure we have an equitable society for everybody. And guess what? The rich kept losing. Capital kept losing. How did capital get into positional power that they have right now? Racism. Because what happened? LBJ said, you know what? We got the great society, right? Maybe black people who've been in this country longer than pretty much all the rest of you white people should be able to benefit in some of it. They gonna give everything to this country. They done fought in the wars. They paid taxes. They was enslaved. They did everything. Maybe we should give a little bit of this good stuff to them. Not as much as white people, but just a little bit of something. And what happened? White people flipped on the Democratic Party that built the largest middle class in human history to go support the Republicans, who was just offering, give money to the rich, give the money and the power to the rich, and we're going to be racist. That's how that happened. That's why, in a way, America deserves what it's getting. The majority of the country gave the rich people the power to do what they're doing right now because they hate black people. Even right now, the only reason people vote for the Republican Party is because of hate. Like, if the Republican Party was to drop the hate tonight and the Democrats was to pick up the hate, the Democrats will win. That's what makes this the lefties so dangerous, because a lot of the lefties know this. That's why they pushing class reductionism, where they just want to talk about the economic issues. They want to do away with the social stuff and just talk about economics, because they know that by doing that, they can get a large swath of white people to come vote for them. Look what happened with Grand Platinum. He broke all kind of records in Maine. Why? Because he looks like the average white guy. He talks like the average white guy. He says everything right on economic issues, and he don't really deal with the social stuff. In fact, a lot of times he's problematic with the social stuff. That's how he got to where he got. That's what the lefties is trying to bring back. They know that's the winning ticket right there. That's the winning ticket. That's literally how FDR and them got into power. Because remember, FDR had the best economic policies, but he still couldn't get a lot of white people to support him. That's when he linked up with the Dixiecrats, and he promised that I'm going to do all this good economic stuff, but we're going to make sure black people don't get none. And then that's when the white people started voting for them. Like, if we created a country tonight, the rich wouldn't basically have no say. They wouldn't be able to do the stuff that they're doing in America right now. The only way they could do it is to join forces with some BS social issue. And guess what? If you're going to give all the rich people all the power over you and let them lobby your politicians, let them buy your politicians, let them pick your politicians because you agree with them on some nonsensical social issue, then you get what you deserve. America is going through what it's going through right now because people want to side with racists. People want to side with bigots. It's like that when we just covered the story about Wilmington. Wilmington was a interracial city, an integrated city with blacks and whites in there. Blacks and whites was basically like about the same population, 50-50, right? They had a government that was majority white, but it also had black people in it. And it was called the Fusion Party, and they did something for everybody. They made sure everybody was living good. White people went against that because they was mad that black people was living good too. That's why we in the situation we in. And that's how you stop from influencing capital. That's how you stop it. Don't let the people cannot get distracted with BS social issues. Hopefully I answered your question. Let me know if I need to go into it in a little bit more detail, or you was asking something kind of different. Shout out to AKW Beats for coming through with 100 joules. Much appreciated. High five to you, bro. Thank you for all your support. LeBron went outside like that. He went to Philly for a veteran minimum. LeBron went outside like that. Went outside. $8 million for 2 years to play for the 76ers. My God, LeBron, you went outside. You was beefing with the Lakers about a maximum, and then you took oh my God. Yeah, salute to the chat. Salute everybody in the building. Lord have mercy. Oh, salute to Justin March for coming through in the building. Family, if Justin March gifted you a membership, make sure you thank him and make sure you keep it going. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for all your support. This is my first moderator right here. He's in the building. Let me see. Yeah, you already know. Salute to Justin March all day, every day. Salute to everybody who support. I know Cuba is bigger, but when I say West Indian, we talking about like the English-speaking country. I ain't say the Caribbean. Like that's another thing. Like in America, when you say West Indian, you only talking about like the English-speaking black countries. Oh, Lee, you say you looked it up? See, yeah. Again, America's that's another reason why people say Americans don't have a culture, because it's really just an immigrant nation. It's too many different groups of people from too many different backgrounds doing their own thing for it to have a united, what is called a united culture. That's what people mean when they say, oh, you don't have no culture. So, okay. So Lee said Cameron did say Africans stink. Okay. I believe y'all. I didn't see it myself, but I believe y'all. Because I saw Cam even like dabbling his toe in that FBA stuff before anyway. And he another one who don't really know what he doing. And then he might get flamed by them in the future. And they're going to want to roast him. Where did the rumor come from? I don't know. I do not know where that rumor came from. It could be because Tariq's family is from Mobile, Alabama, I think. And if you know, Mobile used to be a part of New France and stuff like that. And it was settled by French settlers, and they brought some they're enslaved with them over there. So that could be the origin of it. Or it could be people just saying that because, you know, they said Peanut's father is Haitian. So it might have been a game of telephone when people was talking about Peanut's father, and then it got put on Tariq. So yeah, I don't know exactly where it came from, but I think that's one of the sources of it, was that Tariq's family is supposed to be from Alabama, and a part of the Alabama they was from was settled by the French. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't really know where the jump in the broom thing really came from exactly, because I heard that. So I heard some people say it came from Africa. I heard it was a European tradition that black people saw white people doing. Mhm. He said it. That's the proof. He said it. So even so let's say for example it's not true, he said it. He said it. Because remember, he had it. That's how we found out that she was a cop, and that's how we found out she was living with him, because he had a falling out with one of his people. And she exposed that Tariq's mother-in-law lives with him. She's Jewish, and she used to be a cop. And Tariq didn't deny it. In fact, Tariq started roasting the black woman. And then he started talking about how his mother-in-law was a good cop. She was a good cop. So let's say, for example, she's not Jewish. Everything else is true. Because you know how Tariq do. Tariq is like he'll just say some stuff and don't really remember or understand what he's saying, and then come back and say something different. But yeah, his mother-in-law is definitely white. She's definitely was a police officer. And Tariq did co-sign that she was Jewish. Yes, jumping the broom came from one of these European groups. And that was one of their wedding traditions. And then enslaved people were seeing them doing it, so they just started doing it. Yeah, it came from Europe somewhere. Could have came from the Welsh, the Irish, or the Romani, one of those groups. But shout out to everybody in the building. Let's keep this going. Let's see. I think a lot of the people, some of the people going at Jay-Z, it is fake outrage, because a lot of the people I see who's going at Jay-Z right now are people who created this environment. These are people who did not support Kamala Harris for president. Remember, Trump ran on getting rid of DEI. When Trump came into office, they was going after companies and schools. He let it be known that he's going to go after companies, schools, and everything else that does DEI. So Target, being a smart business, started doing away with the DEI stuff, which makes sense. So I didn't really understand why people was harping too much on Target. I never got it. Like, what was the big deal with Target? Target was just trying to keep from getting sued by the Trump administration, just like everybody else was. Because remember, Target wasn't the only people who got rid of DEI, and there was other companies that never did DEI. So we don't go shopping at Target, but we're gonna go shop. So where we shopping at? Walmart, Amazon. None of those other places that you shopping with to punish Target did as much for black people as Target did. And again, Target is not just getting rid of it out of nowhere. They're getting rid of it because there's real government pressure coming down the pipeline. And nobody wants to be prosecuted and persecuted by the United States federal government. You don't want that. So again, I don't even understand the boycott of Target. I don't understand why people would even be mad at Jay-Z for trying to get some money with Target. And yes, it does spill bigger issues coming down the pipeline for black people. Because like I said, that Target boycott started in the wake of that Target getting rid of DEI started in the wake of Donald Trump being president. And again, since Donald Trump been president to now, more and more black people have been losing more and more and more stuff, access to more and more stuff, hiring at more and more places, everything. So I don't understand what's all the focus on Target. Like, all right, we boycott Target, and then again, where do we shop? Walmart, Amazon. Like where else are you shopping at? You're giving your money to people who never did as much for you as Target, and they people who folded quicker. Remember, wasn't Jeff Bezos donating money to Trump, supporting Trump? Wasn't Jeff Bezos at Trump's inauguration? Why are we not boycotting him? Like too much picking and choosing. Yeah, jumping the broom is our culture, but it came from us watching Europeans during our enslavement. And the Europeans we was watching, they basically stopped doing it, but we kept doing it. So that's why it's synonymous with us, jumping the broom. Shout out to Julius in the building. See? Yeah, she might be the if they keep the primary system the same, which they trying to change right now, she's gonna be the nominee. And she might even win the presidency. I gotta see who she running against. But yeah, she might win the presidency. If we even have an election, because who knows? Trump is so unhinged, he might just steal everything. He might decide that he's not gonna stop being president. Who knows? Oh yeah, that's another jump in the room. No, Ann Coulter is not the mother of FBA. Yvette Carnell is. Definitely make sure you like the video. Oh, shout out to the Boogeyman. He said, "What's my plan for the BYB?" My plan for the BYB is, again, I'm trying to I'm still in the ideation phase, so I'm trying to organize it properly as far as like the belief system, so it could be clear cut and people could read it for themselves. They don't even got to worry about like interacting with me. They can read it for themselves, and it's clear as day. And to actually do like get politically active. Like I do want to actually engage in politics and get politically active. That's why another reason why I'm even doing the Q&A and I'm answering like questions about myself that I would have never answered before, because I'm not going to be faceless for too much longer. I don't plan on doing the Wizard of Oz thing. Like I don't believe in like, all right, you trying to do politics, but you trying to be the Wizard of Oz. Nah, I'm gonna have to like actually like talk to people. And I want to talk to like candidates who are running for office and stuff, and they're not gonna pretty much talk to like a faceless YouTuber, no matter how big he is, especially if it's a serious candidate and they're not grifting. So I'm gonna have to like, if I want to do that, I'm gonna have to like step from behind the scenes. But that's pretty much my plan for it right now. I'm just want to organize it, situate it a little bit more, and actually push the message, push the ideology of what I believe. And I want to ask some candidates how they feel about it, and possibly even help people organize to run for office themselves who believe in the BYB. Yes. That's what I was looking into it. Like I need like some type of like blue light. They called it blue something protection when people want to wear glasses and read from screens and stuff like that. Yes, it can be a curse. And I think that did happen to Umar. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He was not ready for the money. He was not ready for the fame. He was not ready. He was not ready. He spent the money on tricking. Like I think Umar drives a BMW. He be taking trips. He be spending money on girls, all that. He eats out. He does a lot of traveling. That's where that money went. Tricking. Like I said, he wasn't ready for it. He never had that kind of money in his life. Never had that kind of money in his life. And then as soon as it come, because I know how, like when you really start first getting money, it's so easy to say, well, it ain't gonna hurt to spend $20 here. I'll put it back, and then you put the $20 back, and you think it's no big deal. Then it's like, all right, I could spend $100 here. I'll put it back, but you put it back $80, and it's like, well, no big deal. I'll put back the next 20 next week. And before you put back that 20, you took another 50, and then it keep going and keep going and keep going until the next thing you know, you wake up, you done spent $10,000. You done spent $10,000. Salute, Mackenzie. Shout out to you. Exactly. Capitalism has nothing to do with FBA existing. Class issues, none of that. FBA is a psyop that only got big because they got people believing that they're gonna get reparations. That's it. The black community is shrinking in America for several reasons. One, the LGBTQ rate is up. Two, people have demonized black women having kids for over a century. And now we're starting to see the fruits of that. We've seen the fruits of it, where now a lot of black women, when they want to show that they're a good black woman or they got stuff going on, what is one of the first things they mention? I have no kids. Like, that's literally a flex for black women, having no kids, because we have demonized black women having kids so much that for every black woman you see with 7 kids, there's 10 black women with no kids. Another reason the community is shrinking: mass incarceration of black men. A lot of black men get locked up in their teens and in their 20s, and then they got to spend their 20s and their 30s in prison, and they get out in their 40s. Think about how many kids those black men would have had if they had stayed free from 18 to 40, instead of being in and out of prison from 18 to 40. How many kids would they have had? A lot of black men dying young. That's another reason why the community is shrinking. Racism is another reason, because that's too broad to just say racism. So let me break that down, because a lot of stuff I was mentioning before counts as racism too. A lot of black people did grow up poor, and they don't want their kids to grow up poor, so they have this mind state that I'm not gonna have kids until I could give them everything I never had. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can become bad when you're thinking of, well, I want to give them $1 million lifestyle, and you're not on the track to be a millionaire. So if you're not on the track to be a millionaire and you don't want to have kids unless you could give them $1 million lifestyle, you're never going to end up having kids. Another reason why the community is shrinking, because a lot of people just don't want the responsibility of having kids. They feel like it's, again, a lot of black people got more freedom, more wealth than they ever had. So now they feel like they want to live it up in a way their parents never lived it up. And them having kids is not going to be possible, because no matter how much money you have, if you're being a responsible parent, you can't travel like that. You have to be like super rich to just travel like that. And even then you can't travel like that, because what about school? What about this? What about that? A lot of things. So it's like a lot of people just are trying to live life to what they believe is the fullest, and they feel like they can't do it with kids. So that's the reason why it's shrinking. Shout out to you for that, though. Yes, shout out to 350, yo. Yeah, America is definitely a land of stress. And also, again, according to the racism issue, a lot of people don't want to have kids and have their kids grow up in a racist society. They don't want to do that. Oh, shout out to McKinsley. Yes, I named the channel that. I don't know. I don't even necessarily know why. Matter of fact, I do know why. I met a black lady. Her last name was, for all you who want to know, that the last name is Bernadez. That's how you say it pretty much how you say it in English. But in like Spanish, you'll say Bernadez, like Bernadez. But in English, it's basically you pronounce it Bernadez. But yeah, that's the reason I have the last name. I met a black lady with that name. I liked it. I thought it was cool. She worked in the HR department. She helped me out a lot at my job when the other HR people wouldn't have helped me. So that's why I took that. I needed a name, so I took that name. And also, yes, I don't know if you was in the building earlier. I explained my ethnic background, and I explained it like this: I'm part Virginian, part South Carolinian, part Costa Rican, part Jamaican. I can't tell people the exact makeup just yet, of like which parent is what and what came from what. But yes, I am part Afro Latino. I am definitely part Afro Latino. So yes, thank you for that question, McKinsley. And for all you, also before I get off that, my name can be, you can pronounce it Haven or Javen. I take either one. Just like I'll say Bernardez or Bernadez, either one is good. Oh, my thought about the situation is that it's proving my point. I don't think New York DSA is bad. I don't think AOC is bad. I'm thinking that they finally realizing that the rest of the DSA is on a whole different type of timing. The rest of the DSA is on a whole different type of timing. Like I said, the rest of the DSA wants people like Grand Platinum. They want to look like Grand Platinum. That's what they like. They only act like they cool with New York DSA because that's where a lot of their money come from. That's where a lot of their clout come from. And they know that they could never get a Grand Platinum elected in New York, so they gotta accept the AOC types, the Mandani types, the DAC types. They gotta accept those, but they accept them there. But they don't want them to be the face of the party. They don't want them to be the ones running for office. They want the Grand Platinum types running for the high office and running for the majority of the offices and having the majority of the say. Yes, that's been the downfall of a lot of people. A lot of black, I'm not gonna say a lot of black, a lot of men, their downfall was they couldn't control their dick. They couldn't control their dick. Like people say, what is Batman's weakness? Batman's weakness is that he can't control his dick. He can't control his dick. How much bad stuff happened to Batman because he just couldn't control his dick. He just couldn't be like responsible around women. Shout out to Lee D. Clinton. You said, what's my opinion on Neely Fuller and his works? I don't feel comfortable at this point giving an opinion on him because I'm still looking into him and I'm still researching him. But I'll say for the most part, he's good. He's solid. He got it right. He got it right. Excuse me. He got it right. So I'm not gonna attack the brother. As far as I know, also he sued Tariq Nasheed for plagiarizing his work because Tariq used to pretend that the stuff he was saying came from him, like he thought about it, but it really came from Neely Fuller. That's the only person he shout out. When he steal other people's stuff, he don't shout them out unless he get caught. Neely Fuller is the only person he just shout out off GP because that's the way you protect yourself from plagiarism by acknowledging where the information came from. That's why he always say, as our brother Neely Fuller once said, or Neely Fuller once said, the only person he does that with constantly is Neely Fuller. Because I think he got sued before. Let's see. Milestone, you might be right. That's why I said, like, I don't know how I feel about universal basic income right now, but in the future, it might necessarily be needed. I don't believe it's needed right now, but in the future, it might be. That's why I said, like, I'm not gonna trash the idea. I just don't think it's needed right now. But in the future, with automation, it might definitely be needed. Oh, I think I answered that. AOC as a whole, she's solid. I like AOC as a whole. I think she's solid. The DSA as a whole, trash. It's just a bunch of class reductionist bozos. That's it. For the most part, that's what it is, because that's where it's going. Ultimately, that's where it's going. The DSA into class reductionism. Yeah, that might happen, but it might not happen. It might not, because again, this is a new day, and those class reductionist lefties, they got a lot of power. And again, they trying to change the primary system, and if they get to change that, then it's a wrap. Oh, McKinsley, I think I answered that question. Shout out to you for the Canadian 5. Yes, I answered the question already about the Bernadette's name, the Bernadette's name. Yes, I have. Let's see. Nah, Black Merlin. McKinsley is good. He just accent. Like, a lot of people want to know where the name came from. They don't got no problem with me because of my name. They just want to know where it came from. That's it. Just curiosity. No, they would lose, because the reason they would lose is because their economic policies are so bad. Think about it. A lot of people only vote for the Republican Party because of what? Racism. That's it. A lot of people, especially now, don't really care about the social conservative stuff. They're definitely not going to vote for that over their economic needs. Remember, even the term socially conservative, like social conservatives, it's basically like national socialists. The Nazis were not really nationalist socialists. That's their term that they use for themselves, but they was just a bunch of anti-Semitic, racist weirdos. Just like the Republicans with the social conservatism. They don't really believe in social conservatism. If they did, they wouldn't support people like Donald Trump. They just believe that's just their euphemism for racist. That's just their euphemism for racist. That's it. Yeah, McKinsley's from Canada. You already know. Exactly. Racism is super expensive. Super expensive. Racism done stole how much money out of the economy? Okay, we got a xenophobe in the building. He said you're a total weirdo and you're mad. Go watch Tariq go on vacation in Japan when y'all supposed to be boycotting the Asians. Yes, go watch that. I would block you. Matter of fact, let me see if you asked the question. Oh yeah, you don't get to ask me a question. What the fuck what am I doing? Ban. What the hell am I doing? When you just say you can have, it depends. Like, what do you mean by socialism? If you mean like again, like social liberalism, like I'm pushing, or like the social democracies, then yeah, because a lot of them have mixed economies, yeah. But like socialism, like Marxism, nah, can't have both. One going to destroy the other. One going to destroy the other. But if you mean it the other way, then yeah. Like the Chinese, like somebody said, so the Chinese do what is it? What they call it? Socialism with Chinese characteristics. Because I remember I heard somebody say that they took to a Chinese official, and he asked them, like, are y'all communists or y'all capitalists? And he said, we will do what works, and we will call it socialism. That was basically how he summed up socialism with Chinese characteristics. But yeah, if you talk about that, then yeah. You already know. Big up to Justin March. Nah, I don't think that's the rule. I don't think that's the rule, because if that was the case, then he wouldn't have been beefing with LA about no max contract. Shout out to a pimp named Slickback for coming through with the 5. Much appreciated. Thank you. Let me see. FBA doesn't know anything about reparations. A pimp named Slickback. They don't know anything about reparations. What do they know about reparations? Nothing. Like, how many times have they said things and did things that I pointed out that has nothing to do with reparations? Like if Ye was really serious about reparations, they wouldn't support Trump. Trump is the most anti-reparations president we ever had. No president, as far as I know, especially no president who won, campaigned on being like, elect me and I will stop reparations. But they supported him anyway. Remember that reparations talk? That's just that was just a hook to hook people in. It was all lies. It was all lies. It was all lies. Shout out to you though for coming through with the 5. Tariq. Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the Haitian part about Tariq. It could be a game of telephone, or it could be because he's from, I think, Mobile, Alabama, or somewhere around there. And the French colonized that too. Purcell, that's one of the reasons that's one of the things that's probably fueling them now. But remember, originally it wasn't about that. Matter of fact, you might be right. It might have been because, again, we know Yvette Carnell. As far as I know, she probably always had her own personal smoke with black immigrants because she went to Howard. She been to Africa. She worked in the congressional. She was a staffer for 2 congresswomen. So she worked with the Congressional Black Caucus. So she probably also always had a personal grudge against black immigrants. And ADOS was the manifestation of it, which birthed FBA. So yeah, you might be right. You said one of his great grandparents is Haitian? Might be, because again, he's from that part of Alabama, as far as I know. They might have. I know it was one group of Europeans. I can't remember which ones, but it might have been. Oh no. I remember Mike TV reached out to me to go do a show with him, but then I looked in his content and I said, "Nah, I'm not doing that," because I did that before with somebody. Like, I don't know if you noticed, like he was in the live a while ago. I shouted him out, Chief Holiday. He is also somebody who pushes the indigenous stuff. But I went to go do a show with him, right? Because he asked me to. And I went to go do a show with him about the FBA stuff. And then my audience was in the building because I'm doing the show. I promoted the show, so my audience came through. His audience is attacking my audience because they talking about they hate Africa and stuff like that. Mind you, I can't see the comment section because I'm on my phone. And I wasn't looking at the comment section when I was talking to him. And then when I go back, I see that his audience was attacking my audience. And a lot of people in my audience was like, yo, if this is the type of company you keep, I'm not rocking with you. It sounds like you just anti-Tariq. You really, it's like you don't care about other black people. You don't care about Africa. You just anti-Tariq. So yeah, I would never go on no indigenous platform again. And if I did, I will make sure I let people know that I'm going on an indigenous platform. I do not co-sign none of this, and I will be looking at the chat and I will be roasting his or her audience and all that. But I might look into Mike TV's content and see if I need to say something about it. I might. But shout out to you for that question. Shout out to you for being in the building. Let's see. Oh, I already deleted that guy. Shout out to the Black Merlin for coming through with the $4.99. Oh, getting in for the Malice Blackers. Yeah. That might that matter of fact, you on to something, Black Merlin, by calling them plackers. You are on to something by calling them plackers. You are on to something. I think I'm gonna start doing that too. I think I'm gonna start calling them plackers. Said the N-word. Yes, I found it very disturbing. I think some people might say I'm a hypocrite for that, but I find it very disturbing with all this free use of the N-word. Because for all you who don't know, I'm pretty sure you all know, I'm from New York. And people from my era on down, pretty much everybody was saying the N-word. And it wasn't really like a big thing, but I felt like that was always like a New York thing. Like that was something that could happen in New York because New York is really an immigrant city. But I didn't feel like that could ever happen in the rest of the country. So when I saw it happening in the rest of the country, it always like rubbed me the wrong way. Always. Because it's like, yeah, I'm hearing people say the N-word and I'm hearing black people say the N-word with them and stuff. But a lot of those people are like, sometimes are like immigrants who don't actually understand the N-word and they just trying to fit in. And the people who they saying it back and forth with also immigrants who really don't understand the context. But that's why I said like maybe that's why it kind of works a little bit in New York, but I don't think it should work like that, especially nowhere else, especially around no black people whose ancestors was enslaved on this land. So when I see younger black people going for that and thinking that that's okay and that's cool, I'm like, nah, that's not it. And sometimes I do feel that New York has been a bad influence because people see it happening in New York and they copying behind New York. So I think that was New York was a bad influence in that regard. You said the Target boycott happened because they announced it on national TV. That might have been a bad move for them. They should have just quietly did it. That's what allowed people to like, hone in on them. Oh, you said Costco. Yeah, I forgot. Costco's did still keep their DEI program. So shout out to Costco. So a lot of people did go to Costco, but a lot of people didn't. A lot of people went to Walmart. That's what I was saying too before. A lot of people went during that Target boycott. A lot of people went to Walmart. A lot of people went to Amazon, and I didn't think that was okay. Costco's always been a good company, by the way. They have a low turnover rate because they treat their employees really good and stuff. So Costco's is a good company. Let's see, let's look at some more. Let's look at some more. Thank you for the Palo. Thank you, Palo Walla. You said you are. I know I'm engaging in politics right now, but I want to like electoral politics. That's what I should say. I want to start engaging in electoral politics. You never see me on video sitting outside. Matter of fact, I did do a video, but when I was outside, but I didn't show myself. I did a video before me walking through the forest. I used to do mad like videos of me outside, but I didn't show myself though. Nah, I haven't. I haven't. To tell the truth, I have. I've been slacking on the gym. I've been slacking on the gym big time. I have not been hitting no gym at all. I used to be a black card member of what's it called? What's that big place? It's like it's purple and yellow is their colors, and they everywhere. Whatever they call. I'll remember another time. I had a gym membership with them, black card gym membership. I used to I had mad Apple Watches. I used to be outside with like 3 different Apple Watches on my wrist, like 2 on the left, 1 on the right, tracking everything. Yeah. Okay, we got 2 questions right now. One from the Palo Alto, one from Stoic J. About what is the BYB? The BYB is this. The first B, first letter in BYB, B stands for black. Because in my political project, the BYB is my political project. And in my political project, the first thing that's most important is black. That's why the B is first. That's why the first B stands for black. And that stands for what? Black as in what? Pan-Africanism, black nationalism, third wave black internationalism, black identity politics. That's what I do. I can explain. I'm gonna explain those terms in more detail soon, but that's what I do. The why. The why is because the color of liberalism is yellow. And I push social liberalism. I believe in social liberalism. I think that's the best path forward is social liberalism. So that's why I got the yellow for social liberalism. The last letter, B, stands for, is blue, as in blue for the Democratic Party. The reason it's blue for the Democratic Party is this. The majority of black people are Democrats. We know that. The majority of us, we Democrats. The majority of people vote Democrats. Vote for the Democrats. The Democratic Party is how we have gotten all our gains in the last 60 years. So instead of going against the grain, we're going to just go with it. That Democrats is what black people are. So we are the Democrats. So we push Democrats, and we're going to try to boost our station in the Democratic Party. We want to get back in the driver's seat of the Democratic Party and use it for the yellow, use it to push the B and the Y. That's why we blue. That doesn't mean we won't work bipartisanly with Republicans if they put something real on the table. Doesn't mean that. It just means that that's where we going with the blue for the Democrats, because that's our best play right there. Because as you can see, you got a whole bunch of people who are not Democrats, but they're running inside of the Democratic Party to try to take it over to push their agenda. So since we are already in it, we might as well run in it to take and push our and take it over, so we could push so we could push our agenda. Like, we already in it, and we watching the lefties who are not in it try to come in it and take it over. So again, we might as well take it over ourselves. We already in it. But that's what it means. Oh, I don't know nothing about that. But yeah, I got to look into that. Foundational Black Americans, that's a hate cult. That's not I hope you're using the there's no people. Let's make that clear. Foundational Black American is not a lineage. It's not a lineage, and it's not a people. It is a hate cult and a white nationalist psyop. The relationship between the two is going to keep going the same. What's going to happen is FBA is going to eventually fall off, because once it's made clear that black people can't get reparations, and once it's made clear the only thing you get out of supporting FBA is you just get to talk down on black immigrants, that's going to fall off real quick. That's going to get old real quick, where there is no benefit in calling yourself FBA other than people accusing you of being a part of a hate cult. You're not getting reparations. Politicians are not listening to you, nothing. So that's where it's going. It's gonna get a little bit more rocky, because again, as you can see, you're starting to see a lot more content creators grifting the FBA nonsense, but ultimately it's gonna die out. That's it. You might even see in the future, before it die out, you might see an act of violence, where you might have somebody claiming FBA and do an act of violence, which is really going to kill FBA if that happens. because then everybody gonna now all the black people in positions of power are gonna really go after them, and then everybody gonna be scattering like, oh, it's just the lineage and ain't got nothing to do with us, blah 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 blah. Blah. But that's pretty much where it's going. It's just going nowhere. It's gonna get faded. That's gonna be another notch under my belt, by the way, because I already caused the civil war between FBA and ADOS, so that's a notch. But ultimately, it'll just die out like that. And I want to see in the next 2 to 3 years, BYB be the reason why I die out. Not even in 2 to 3 years. I want to see like more like 6 to 18 months. That's my timeline to really kill FBA, where it's like kill him a little bit more better. That's true about a birth rate. Richer countries that are richer and also where women have more freedom tend to drop birth rates. Like if you want to drop a birth rate real quick, give women maximum freedom and push women into work and push them to get high education. Ain't nothing gonna drop a birth rate like that. Hey, that's what the people say. They want to live their life to the fullest, and by living their life to the quote unquote fullest, they can't do that with kids. I don't understand that sentiment, but like I understand maybe you saying that when you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, throughout your 20s, even you at your early 30s, but like mid 30s talking about I can't have kids because I want to live my life to the fullest. I don't get that. But to each his own, because everybody got to live their own life. Everybody got to live their own life. I'm not nobody God. I can't tell nobody how to live their life. Everybody got to live their own life. Shout out to Lee D. Clinton in the building. He coming through with a 5. Yes, black people around the globe are growing, and you got people who have a problem with that. You know, there's a lot of eugenicists who don't want to see the black community grow. Yeah, let's see if we can get some more. You said you guilty of that? It depends. Like I said, it depends on what your definition of poverty is. If you don't want to have kids because you're living in a shoebox, that makes all the sense in the world. You don't want to have you living in a project, so you don't want to have kids. You want to wait till you can get out the projects before you have kids. That makes sense. But if your idea of I don't want to have kids because I can't make sure my kids live like Bill Gates' kids, it's like, come on now, really? But again, to each his own. To each his own. To each his own. To each his own. Yeah, so I said, like some people feel like they don't have the money for the kid, for the school and everything. That's what I said. To each his own. Because maybe you don't have the money right now. But as long as you got a plan to get that kind of money and you on the road to that, then that makes sense. A lot of people, like I said before, talk about, oh, I don't want to have kids because I don't got the money. And what money they talking about? They talking about millionaire money, and they not working, they're not doing nothing to get millionaire money. That don't make sense to me. But yeah, shout out to you. Yes, I remember Unk's Crack Pipe channel. I had to that dude was coming up a little bit, but what happened that he messed himself up is he started editing videos to make people say stuff that they didn't really say. Yes, part Jamaican, part Costa Rican. Yep. You know what's so funny about it? Throughout the whole years, especially thinking of Unk's Crack Pipe, people used to say I was Haitian. They used to say I was half Haitian, half Puerto Rican. people would say that I was an Eritrean immigrant. No, in fact, they said I was Eritrean, but my parents was born in Eritrea. I was born here, but I was Eritrean. People used to say so much stuff about me. It was crazy. Yep. I still got my Haven Bullets channel. I'm starting to use it again. So make sure if you want to, you can go subscribe to that because I'm about to start uploading stuff over there too. Because they finally let me upload stuff on there again. They let me go live from there just recently, but now I can upload again. So, you know. You said that's a real New York mix? Yes, that's a real New York mix. Subscription-based lineage. Yep, that's exactly what they are. Let's see. Of course, that's what the internet pushes because that's the easiest thing to push. What you call it? What's the easiest thing to push? Hate. You don't need no intelligence to push hate. In fact, if you had intelligence, you probably wouldn't even be hateful because a lot of times people hate on stuff that they don't they don't even know what they're hating on. They can't even justify what they're hating on. They can't. They can't. They can't. And that's why people pushing it. It's so easy to push. Like, think about it. How easy is it to push hate women, hate black immigrants, hate this, hate that, than it is to have some intelligence, to have some nuance. That's the reason. And of course, and also the rich are behind it, funding it. Think about it. People who push hate, they never lacking for money. It's not only easy to do, you get a bag for it. A lot of these people who push hate are connected to millionaires and billionaires who finance them. Like, that's why they do it. So easy to do. Shout out to the Black Merlin. You said Haven's Haven is the HQ name. You know what's so funny? I used to have like a little thing that we called it the Safe Haven, but it was spelled, the Haven was spelled Javen. So it was the Safe Haven. I was thinking about bringing that back. Because back in the days, they used to be like, plus people used to accuse me of being a feminist. And they would be like, they used to call me the rest haven for hoes. The rest haven. And then I was like, I'm the safe haven. That's how that came about. Yep. Shout out to Ogo in the building. That is the weakness. Women. Exactly. And one thing I could celebrate and be happy about the Epstein files is that there was no black people in it. Because I'm starting to see a dangerous trend of a lot of black men trying to be super thirsty to be like white men and willing to do anything to be down with a bunch of white boys, which will ultimately lead you to the Epstein files. That's why I don't bang with none of that manosphere stuff. They get all their direction from white boys. They get all their standards from white boys. And if you keep doing that, you're going to ultimately end up in the Epstein files. Yeah, let's keep it going. You said, shout out to the visionary asking a question. You asked, am I religious? Yes, I'm religious. I'm religious. But again, I don't be pushed. I don't want to say I don't push the religion on people, because I don't think that's like a good terminology to use for your religion. Like, oh, I don't push it on people. But yes, I'm religious. And what are your thoughts about the Abrahamic religions? It depends. about my thoughts about the Abrahamic religions. Like I don't got no smoke with none of the religions really. I don't got no real smoke with them. I'm religious, but I don't think, maybe that might mean I'm not a good religious person because I don't really like got smoke with people, and I'm willing to work with people no matter what they believe. But maybe I could answer that question a little bit better. I don't know. Let me know if you need me to answer that question a little bit better, visionary. Thank you, McKinsley, for sending the Canadian 2. Much appreciated. A whole lot of ones beat a whole lot of nuns. Yep, half Costa Rican, half Jamaican. Let me correct that. Part Costa Rican, part Jamaican. Let me see. What's this? Oh, you must be one of these FBA bozos. No need to address this. Because again, the average person pushing FBA don't even live around no black immigrants or engage with them. So how would they know about who feel about what? And you said just sweep it under the rug and blame Judah. You must be a Hebrew Israelite. How are you a Hebrew Israelite and you hating on other Hebrews? Aren't like Haitians, Jamaicans, and all those other groups a part of your 12 tribes? Aren't they one of your 12 tribes? Let me know. Have I done a DNA test? Nope, I have not done a DNA test. I'm thinking about I might do one. Let me know if y'all think I should do a DNA test and do a video about it. I haven't done one, but I'm thinking I might do one. What are you talking about? Oh, you must be arguing with somebody else. I don't know. Because I didn't even address the religious thing and I see that this comment is old. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Oh, you talking to the Hebrew Israelite guy. All right, gotcha. All right. Shout out to Benevolent. Do I see the comment of the commenter who said that FBA should be banned from all black nations? That would be kind of hard to enforce, but that does make sense. Like if you know somebody is a fact stormed down a member of the FBA hate cult like Tariq or O'Shea, and you want to ban them from coming to your country, that makes sense. That makes real sense. Shout out to Justin March for coming through with a 2. Whole lot of ones beat a whole lot of nuns any day of the week. He said, who is the most dangerous lefty? As of right now, it might be Hassan because he's the biggest one. And he got color on his skin. But he can pass for a white guy. Hassan Piker might be the most dangerous lefty in the country because people in the mainstream acknowledge him. They even refer to him as like basically like what? The left's Joe Rogan. They was calling him that before. Yeah, he got a lot of clout, a lot of power, a lot of wealth. He came from his uncle, who I think is Cenk Uygur. That's his uncle from TYT, who at one time had the biggest lefty platform on YouTube. So he knows how to maneuver. So yeah, he's the most dangerous. As far as I'm as concerned as a black person, he's the most dangerous because he is openly hostile to social issues. He's even said it before about how he don't really deal with social issues and stuff like that. It's all more about class and economics. So yeah, he's like the most dangerous one. Most dangerous. You said, when did the anti-African hate rhetoric come from? It depends on what you're talking about, because there's always been, I would say, from like the last 100 years, some anti-Africanness going on in the Black community. There's always been some level of anti-Africanness. But there's never been nothing like the FBA hate code. Like, that's new. But like the anti-Africanness, it more come from shame. Because like I always say to people, nobody had a problem being an African until they saw National Geographic. It was those National Geographic, those documentaries, those books written by Europeans about how backwards and how savage and how primitive Africans were, that people started saying, they didn't want to be associated with it. They didn't want to be associated with it. That's why they saw it as bad and they saw it as a negative, because that's how white people was talking about it. Especially the white people who educated them. So that's where, like, if you ever saw it, like if you watch the movie like School Days, or you watch different movies, you might hear some anti-Africanism in it, and it more comes from like, I want to be a flag waving American. I want to prove that I'm just American and all I care about is America. I don't care about nothing else. And it's from all the negativity that people have seen associated with Africa. Because that's a fact. I know that for a fact. Nobody had a problem being an African until they saw National Geographic. Nobody. And stuff like that. And speaking of National Geographic, for all you who don't know, National Geographic had apologized like a couple years ago for that, because they would actually set that up. They would like those was like movies. They was passing off as documentaries where they would tell the Africans to dress up certain ways, engage in certain behavior to try to make Africa look as savage as possible and primitive and savage as possible. And that's why I know a lot of people didn't want to be associated with it. Do I think the Republican Party is dead in 20 years? No. If the Republican Party stay racist, it'll still be alive. Because as long as racism is alive in America, the most racist party will still be alive. Because as we saw with Trump, a lot of young white people voted for Trump. A lot of them. And a lot of people who were young and didn't vote for Trump, when they got older, they voted for Trump. Like, again, as long as the Republican Party stay racist, they will stay relevant. Because remember, people have been saying this for a while about the Republican Party, about how they're going to die off and how the youth is not going to vote for them because they don't have nothing to offer but racism. But guess what? The modern version of the Republican Party that started as a white lash to the civil rights movement is still alive. It's still kicking. It got control of all three branches of government. You said you think Yvette Carnell fell out with? She might have. She was falling out a little bit with Tone Talks. She was falling out a little bit with him. Oh, we hit our goal. I didn't even check this. We hit the goal. Shout out to everybody who donated and supported the stream. We hit the goal. I didn't even know that. Shout out to y'all. I was so busy like making sure I read every comment. I didn't even see that part. We hit the goal. Much appreciated to everybody who came through, who showed love, everything. Thank you. Much appreciated. We hit that goal. We hit that goal. Let me look at something real quick. Sorry about that, family. Let me look at something real quick. Yeah, but that makes sense that she fell out with him. Oh, my TV is on that disrespecting black women. Definitely got to look into that. Oh, sorry to everybody who's commenting, because I'm trying to answer every question and I'm getting a lot of questions. So it's like y'all sending questions faster than I could get to it. Because like right now in the question log, I'm up to like 9:45, and now and it's 10:13. So yeah, let me try to go through these a little bit faster. Let me go through these a little bit faster. Oh look, you said never mind. I caught up to your super chat. Yep. Shout out to Timbo Slice for coming through with the 5. Much appreciated. You said, do I think Iran use rap with the goals? I don't think it's comparable because you got to think about it. They got their own country. It's different. Like people don't understand how easy it is to create movements and to use your soft power more effectively when you have a country. When you have a country, it's way easier to do it. Way easier to do it. So I don't think it's like okay to compare it to Public Enemy because again, Public Enemy was one group and it's only but so much organizing you could do while you still a minority in a country. And the majority hates you and they laser focus on you. And a good swath of your community that is a majority is not on board with what you're talking about. But shout out to you for the 5. Oh, Planet Fitness. That's what I was talking about. Planet Fitness. Oh yeah, we reached the goal. Planet Fitness. Thank you. Shout out to the Hood Mistress. Yes. Planet Fitness. I had the Black Card membership with Planet Fitness. Shout out to the Black Merlin for coming through with the 199. Whole lot of ones beat a whole lot of nuns. From day one. Yeah, you already know. Go. Shout out to Don Mudino. Yes, Planet Fitness. A lot of people don't believe in that. Like again, the Aboriginal stuff at its biggest was never really that big. And it's only getting smaller. A lot of Black people do not believe that they Aboriginal. A lot of Black people don't even believe that they got Indian ancestry. Like I grew up Black my whole life, been to the South, been everywhere. I could count on my fingers and toes how many Black people I ever met claim they had Indian ancestry. And the majority of them really did have it. Like, yeah, like that's not a thing in the Black community. That's something we have all heard in the Black community, but it's not a thing where it's like a large swath of the community. Peace. Let's see. Oh, shout out to you. I didn't even know that. Yes. But that go back again to my point about a lot of these people are ashamed of having African ancestry because Africa has been so demonized to them. That's why the people, like I always say, the people who will tell you that the Black people was the original samurai, we was the original Greeks, we was the original Romans, we was the original Chinese, we was the original Hindus, we was the original Celts, we was the original Scots, we was the original Germans, we was the original everything. We was the original Aztecs. We was the original everything, but they want to claim they don't have no connection to Africa. That's just all shame. Because if Africa looked like Wakanda, we wouldn't even have to ask nobody to claim Africa. We wouldn't even have to ask them. We wouldn't even have to ask them. Just like a lot of people never claimed a lot of parts of the South. A lot of people in the North, a lot of areas never wanted to claim the South. And then when they start hearing about places like Black Wall Street, Wilmington, and all this other stuff, now people want to claim the South. Because remember, for a long time, the South has been connected with has been looked at as backwards, dumb, dirty, unsophisticated, and all that. And a lot of people who grew up in the North pumped that. And then when they found out about stuff like Juneteenth, Rosewood, Black Wall Street, and all these other communities and stuff, now they want to claim it and talk about the South with pride. But if they never knew that, they wouldn't be claiming stuff in the South. You already know. BYB. Black, yellow, and blue. You already know. I wonder why too. Shout out to Recollect in the building. I ain't see you in a minute. Yeah, I don't promote violence. Oh yes, I talked about that video. We covered that video with the bozo who attacked the brother in the LA train station. We covered that. We definitely covered that. That's what I said too. Like in the next, when the person asked me about the question about the 2 to 3 years, I said you might see an act of violence here or there, but otherwise than that, it's just gonna eventually just fade, and everybody gonna pretend like they never supported ADOS or, FBA, or they're gonna try to create their own definition of what FBA is. All that. I hope so too. Oh, of course I remember that. DJ Faze. DJ Faze. He started hip hop and break dancing and rap. Him and a bunch of other 5-year-olds started that. Unc's crack pipe, not Unk, like the ancient Kemetic symbol, ANKH, Unk. It was a YouTuber called Unc's crack pipe, and he used to like do videos. He didn't speak, so he used to just do videos where you could mash up other people's videos and stuff. I kind of miss the conscious community era too. And the thing is, the conscious community could have been something special. And it could have made some real money, and it could have really helped a lot of people. But they was just too unprincipled. A lot of those people just couldn't handle the money. A lot of those people were scammers, and a lot of people were just too stupid and too much of a dick rider. That hurt the community a lot. Too much dick riding. Shout out to Brandon for coming through with the 5. Oh, you said they already gave them a way to prosecute FBA? That might be true. That might be true. That might be true. Yep, people hate what they don't understand. Yeah, the Tate brothers, they going down. They're going down. All right, we about to get rid of you. Put you on timeout. Let you stop commenting for a little bit. Yes, they're gonna be designated a hate group sooner or later. I don't see Tariq Nasheed's supporters turning on him. The only way Tariq Nasheed's supporters are gonna turn on him is if they find a bigger Tariq. There's another version of Tariq out there. Like say there's somebody who's as big as Tariq or bigger, really go in on him. Then they're gonna turn on him to clout chase that other person. Otherwise than that, no. I saw. I think I got rid of him. I got rid of him. Let's see. Yeah, I think about it. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a DNA test. I think that's good. I think I'm gonna do a DNA test. Oh my God, FBA is crazy. Like I said, the more and more you stay with FBA, the stupider you get. Shout out to Stoic J. You said in terms of religion, do you think we need to relinquish ourselves? I don't think so, because I don't personally believe that you gotta like stop believing in anything to push it forward for Black people. And on top of that, Black people not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it. I think that's a lost cause to try to convince Black people to stop being Christians and stop and leave the Black church. The best case scenario that's gonna happen is that the Black church become like Shia Islam. Like as you can see, the Arabs conquered the Persians and they brought Islam to them. And basically they came up with their own form of Islam and then pushed them back. And as you look at Iran right now, it's a theocracy. A theocracy based on what? Shia Islam. That's pretty much what that's the situation with the Black community and the Black and church go. It's always going to be the Black church is like basically here to stay. That's like our first institution, really. Most people ain't going to leave Christianity or the Black church. It's just that we're going to have to use it to actually better our community. That's it. So kids. Oh, McKinsley, just approach them as regular girls, like they all New Yorkers. Like think about it. Spanish, that's like the Spanish girls in New York. They New Yorkers. They are Black people. The same way you would approach a Black girl, you approach them the same. It's not like other cities. That's the beauty about New York. We really one people. So it's like the same way you would approach one, you approach the other. That's it. That's it. And if you really want to like make sure you get like a Spanish girl, you go to the Bronx. You go to the Bronx. Like, yeah, they everywhere throughout the city, but the Bronx is where it's like really at. If you think Cardi B and Ice Spice in them is pretty, and you want a girl who look like that, kind of talk like that, move like that, you gotta go to the Bronx. You gotta go to the Bronx. Shout out to Haru. I can't even say it. Haru. I'm not even gonna try to say it. I'm sorry. I can't say it right now. Thank you for the 199. Much appreciated. The thoughts on the Sahel Alliance, and Ibrahim, I like them. I think so. Only thing I think is that they gotta unite a little bit more, and they gotta be a little bit less reliant on the Russians, because quiet is kept, the Russians really can't help them. Like if you look at what's going on in Mali right now, it shows that the Russians suck. They like I don't like you might have to go try to be talking to the Chinese or somebody, because like the Russians ain't doing a little bit of nothing, a whole lot of nothing really. That they don't know how to fight wars, they don't know how to do anything but like commit war crimes and look tough. So yeah, the Sahel Alliance, they gotta get more formalized. They gotta support each other more, and they gotta become less reliant on the Russians. The Russians are bringing more problems than they solving. More problems than they solving. Shout out to Urban Palmer in the building. Yep, make sure you do that. Oh, yeah, shout out to Benevolent. Yes, Umar has turned down in the past to work with actual Pan-Africanist organizations. You know, like I think Marcus Garvey grandson, who's like I think is the leader of the UNIA because the UNIA still exists, asked Umar to be down. He said no. Like again, Umar think he could be a one-man army. That's why I always knew Umar was gonna fail. He's trying to be a one-man army. So no matter how genuine you are, you never was gonna get nowhere trying to be a one-man army. That's not gonna work. You're not gonna build institutions that's gonna save the black race by yourself without working with other people. Yes, the Hebrew Israelites used to be anti-African big time. And I am seeing that the group you call them the Purple Rangers, the IUIC, they are starting to branch off into Africa, which is like kind of like crazy to me. Because I'm like, ain't y'all one West Hebrew Israelites? Ain't y'all anti-African? But you know, I guess they growing. They trying to grow their numbers. Their leader is a bozo though. He was setting black people up when he was working with the NYPD, which is crazy to me. Yes, I forgot the feed the children commercials too. Yes, that's why I said National Geographic. That all goes together because National Geographic started it. They gave everybody to play, and then now everybody else started using it. Like you even got weirdo white people to this day, Chinese people even trying to do their own little version of National Geographic in Africa. Shout out to the Black Merlin for the $4.99. Yes, National Geographic was propaganda. I'm gonna have to do a whole like standalone video on that about how National Geographic apologized for what they was doing. They popped that whole wave off. Shout out to you for the $4.99. Shout out to Vegeta. Yes, the Iran war is actually a war. And the funny part is the Trump administration wasn't ready for that. They thought they was going to just drop a few bombs like they did in like Obama did in Libya and everything would be good. When it's not. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Oh, you already know. I'm always going to defend black immigrants. I'm always going to defend black people in general. Whether I got a personal connection with them or not, I'm always going to defend them. Always. Always. Of course, the Louisiana Creoles is going to receive hate from them. Remember, Tariq, Yvette, and all of them was attacking Louisiana Creoles, saying that they wasn't FBA, just like the Gullah Geechee, just like some black people in Florida and New York. And then they also extended that to the Indian freedmen. Benevolent, you might be young or you might not be from America, but National Geographic, especially when I was growing up, even before that, was a big deal. Like the person who just said that, I think that was the Black Maryland who said that. Every school had National Geographic in it. You couldn't escape National Geographic. If you were in America and you was in school, you read a National Geographic book. You know what a National Geographic book looked like. Like I could show somebody the back of it and they will be able to tell me without even them seeing the front. Or I could show them the front and just cover a part of the front. I'm like, what is this? I could even play the song. There ain't nobody my age or early or older who, when they hear a National Geographic song, they don't know what that is. That dun 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 dun. You hear that? You know, National Geographic. That was a big deal. That was a huge deal. You couldn't escape it. That stuff paved like the way for stuff like Matter of fact, I think I got my songs mixed up. No, I didn't. That paved the way for stuff like the Discovery Channel, History Channel, TLC, before they started doing stuff like Honey Boo Boo. Yeah. Shout out to the visionary for coming through with the 199. Oh, I got to put that list together. Somebody asked me that earlier. I got to put that list together. I got to put the list together. I got to put the list together. Dang. Oh, my kids is calling. I guess I gotta go pick them up. I just got seen in the text message. I gotta go pick them up. I'm sorry, family. I'm gonna try to get to a couple more questions and then I gotta go. I'm sorry. I gotta go. It's Friday and I gotta make sure I get them. Again, shout out to Afro Royalty. They mad because again, people don't want to be, they don't want to be associated with Africa. That's it. Jealousy, one, because they got an Africa town. Because I'm assuming that the Africa town is was popped off for a lot of the Liberians who live in Philly, because Philly got a big Liberian population, so they probably came together and put together an Africa town. And a lot of the other black people are upset because they never was able to put together no black town or no Africa town for themselves. And also, if it's not that way, if it's just a regular Africa town just for black people, like the one Dr. Claude Anderson tried to do in Detroit, they might be mad just about the name because, again, a lot of people associate Africa with negativity. Again, through National Geographic and all that. They've been propagandized. They associate negativity with Africa. They associate poverty, disease, backwardness, and all that other stuff. That's what black people be saying when they say I'm not African. Now I'm not talking about the FBA, the FBA Aboriginal bozos. They be saying that they're not African, as in they don't got no ancestry, no connection. Now, other people, when they say they're not African, they probably trying to distance themselves from what they see as backwardsness and savagery. I don't know if he got black immigrant ancestry. I never I didn't see his results and stuff, but he might. I wouldn't be surprised. Let me see. Shout out to the Paula Water. Yes. Yeah, so I said, like, people don't understand too when they talk about Puerto Ricans. I'm explain the origin of Puerto Ricans in New York. Puerto Rican's been in New York for like 1880s, 1890s. They were always black in New York. Remember, the concept of brown and Latino and Hispanic, that stuff didn't exist until like, when was that? The 70s. That didn't exist until like the 70s. That wasn't really like a thing before that. So before that, if you had any black blood, you was just black. That one drop rule was real. It was the real deal back then. So Puerto Ricans all got lumped into the black group when they was living in New York. So they was just all black. We had no problems. We was literally one people. One people. The friction between like Puerto Ricans and black people started in like the 60s to the 90s. And basically ended in like in the 2000s. And that came with the second wave of Puerto Ricans who were more propagandized into like because a lot of Latin American countries are really anti-black. So and they propagandize their people into anti-blackness. So again, when that second wave hit, that's when the concept of Latino, brown, and Hispanic and stuff started bubbling. And on top of that, they were very anti-black. So much so that they was hating on the first wave of Puerto Ricans. Remember, New Yorican is a slur. It was originally a slur for Puerto Ricans who think they black, or Puerto Ricans who live with black people, who are cool with black people. And then the first wave won out against the second wave. And then we all got cool again. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, Puerto Ricans is the peoples. They the peoples for real, for real. Let's see. Definitely putting belt to ass. McKinsley, do I plan to reach out to? I would love to reach out to Black people all around the world, but you know, you got to start somewhere, and I got to start with what I know. Because again, I don't want to try to reach out to people in other countries, and I don't really understand their politics and what's going on, and I give them bad advice or something like that, or I cause confusion. I know about American politics, so I know what to do there. Shout out to Lee. Yes, the naked African women is what made National Geographic famous. Like if you ask everybody between like 35 and 60 in America, what's the first thing you think about when you think about National Geographic? They're gonna say naked African women, or they're gonna say Africans living in mud huts and stuff like that. That's the first thing they're gonna say. Like National Geographic has become synonymous with African savagery and African primitiveness. But yeah, they still texting me. They still texting me, so I gotta go. I want to say this was a great experience. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. Thanks to everybody who asked questions. Much appreciated. You know we got to do this again. So let me just get out of here with this. Let me give the shout outs. Shout out to Banana and Pajamas for coming through with 2 jewels. Much appreciated for setting it off with 2 jewels. Family, also remember, the best way to support the stream, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. Support the stream any way you can, any way you feel comfortable doing. And again, if you don't have no money, you can support with a like. You can support with a share. You can support by going to subscribe to my other channels. Support in those ways. Shout out to the Lord of Slaughter for coming through with the 199. Shout out to East Coast Cab for coming through with the 5. Shout out to That's Amazing for coming through with the 5. Shout out to AKW Beats for coming through with 100 jewels. Much appreciated. High five. Shout out to Justin March for coming through for gifting 20 memberships. Family, if Justin March gifted you a membership, make sure you thank him and make sure you keep it going. Make sure you thank him and make sure you keep it going. Shout out to McKinsley for coming through with the Canadian 5. Shout out to a pimp named Slickback for coming through with the 5. Shout out to the Black Merlin for the 4.99. Shout out to Lee D. Clinton for coming through with the 5. Shout out to McKinsley for doubling up with the Canadian 2. Shout out to Justin March for coming through with the 2. Shout out to Timbo Slice for coming through with the 5. Shout out to the Black Merlin for coming through with the 199. Shout out to Brandon for coming through with the 5. Shout out to Yorul. I'm having so much problem saying that, for coming through with the 199. Much appreciated. Shout out to the Black Merlin for doubling up. I think this is a triple up with the 499. Shout out to the Visionary for coming through with the 199. Much appreciated. Thanks to everybody who tuned in for coming through, supporting the stream. Much appreciated. I appreciate it all. This was fun. We got to definitely do this again. Hopefully I could start a little bit earlier, and so we could go a little bit longer, maybe not on the weekend, or maybe not a weekend where I got to go get my kids. Yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You support the stream any way you can. Appreciate everybody for coming through. This was fun again, and I will be doing a video soon on the BYB a little bit better. And just y'all gave me some good video topics that I want to get into. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely do that. Shout out to everybody in the building. So yeah, I'm getting out of here. I gotta go. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Definitely didn't. I remember I was hearing videos. I heard white boys talk about how they used to jerk off to those magazines. It was like, y'all crazy. Shout out to Percy in the building. Yes, I think I do that. I think we could do that like every week. I'll just do this. Definitely was. A lot of young people was using them magazines as porno magazines. I think that's another reason why National Geographic got so big and was everywhere like that. Oh, that's good for you. That's again, when they did that one, that's when they was like kind of turning over a new leaf too. But good for you. But yeah, shout out to Chocolate Lyric in the building. Yeah, but I gotta go. I'll see y'all later. Thank you. Much appreciated. Shout out to Fahima in the building. What you said you had no idea National Geographic was that bad? I guess I definitely got to do a video about that. Oh, shout out to Fahima for coming through. African Town is explicitly Pan-Africanist. All right, cool. Like I said it's either it was gonna be like an African town because like you had literal Africans building it, or it was like some black stuff. Yep. So now we know. Shout out to Fahima. But yeah, I gotta go. Oh, you gonna be at the Dominican Day Parade? Oh, probably see you there. Salute. But yeah, I gotta go. I'll catch y'all later. Thank you. Much appreciated. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I definitely gonna start doing that again. I just got behind because I stopped doing like standalone videos because I got behind because I'm still researching. I don't know why it's so much harder to find this information. It wasn't this hard when I looked it up on my personal time before, like years ago, but that was super hard to find this information about black birth rates in America. Like the Trump administration done messed everything up. That's why I don't be doing like what I don't promote that. Oh, you could pay me for a video and stuff because I still got to do this video for benevolent. I'm still working on that, but I'm definitely gonna start once I finish that. I'm definitely gonna start doing breakdown videos again and doing them more often. But yeah, I gotta go. Salute to everybody in the building. Thank you. Have a great night, afternoon, evening, or wherever you at or whatever you got going on. And on that note, family, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure y'all go subscribe to my other channels. Make sure y'all support me the best way y'all can. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. And on that note, family, salute to everybody who showed love. Salute to everybody in the building. Salute to everybody who dropped the fire emoji. Hit that reaction heart. Drop the comment. And on that note, family, peace.